Welcome, and thank you for joining this journey through our magnificent planet. Tonight you are invited to let go of tension, to sink gently into your seat or bed, and to allow the Earth's rhythms to carry you. As we explore the quiet marvels of forests, oceans, deserts, and skies, each fact, each gentle observation is meant to soothe your mind and calm your spirit. Breathe slowly. Feel the rise and fall of your chest. Let your thoughts drift like leaves on a calm river. In this 2-hour journey, you will discover the delicate balance of life, the gentle flow of energy, and the patient arcs of nature that have persisted for billions of years. If you enjoy this journey and wish to return to the quiet wonders of Earth whenever you need, consider subscribing and joining us in exploring more of the planet's serene secrets. Let us begin together as you relax, and let the gentle pulse of the Earth guide you into calm, peaceful sleep. The Earth turns gently in the quiet expanse of space, a luminous sphere suspended against the velvet darkness of the cosmos. From this vantage, the planet appears serene, a swirl of blues, greens, and whites, softly illuminated by the distant sun. Oceans stretch like vast glimmering mirrors, reflecting light with a subtle shimmer that changes as the planet slowly spins. Clouds drift lazily above like whispers frozen in time, tracing delicate, ever-shifting patterns that hint at invisible currents in the atmosphere. The Earth's surface is alive with subtle movements, though from above all seems calm, as though the planet is breathing quietly, a living rhythm of wind and water, land and sky. Beneath this quiet exterior lies a complex, dynamic world. The oceans, covering more than 2/3 of the surface, hold mysteries as deep as the mind can wander. Each wave that brushes a distant shore is the outward sign of immense energy moving through the water, guided by gravity, wind, and the subtle pull of the moon. Beneath the surface, currents flow like slow rivers, carrying warmth from tropical seas to polar coasts, mixing waters of varying salinity and temperature. The ocean is not still. It pulses with life, sustaining creatures both tiny and immense. Microscopic plankton drift with the currents, unseen yet essential, producing the oxygen that fills the air you breathe. Massive whales glide silently through deep waters, their songs resonating like the heartbeat of the sea itself, touching places far beyond human eyes, carrying messages that travel for hundreds of miles. Above the oceans, the atmosphere forms a delicate, protective envelope. Layers of gases surround the Earth, invisible yet vital, filtering light, trapping warmth and sheltering life. The stratosphere bends sunlight into soft shades of blue, green, and gold at sunrise and sunset, painting the horizon with ephemeral colors. High above, the jet streams race invisibly, shaping weather patterns that ripple across continents. Winds swirl over mountains and deserts, over forests and plains, carrying seeds, moisture, and sometimes the faintest hints of faraway scents. Clouds condense and drift, forming shapes both familiar and fantastical, ever-changing, as if the sky itself is breathing. Even in moments of stillness, the air is alive, a subtle dance of molecules moving to rhythms too slow and vast for human senses to fully grasp. The continents rise, steady and ancient, shaped over billions of years by forces both slow and violent. Mountains pierce the sky, their peaks glimmering with snow, glaciers slowly carving valleys with patient persistence. Rivers flow from these heights, tracing winding paths that nourish land and life. Water in all its forms connects the planet, carving landscapes, feeding forests, and sustaining every living creature. Deserts stretch with austere beauty, their sands shifting with the wind, silently recording the passage of time in ripples and dunes. Forests blanket vast areas with green, their leaves swaying gently, filtering sunlight and exhaling the subtle fragrance of life itself. Each ecosystem hums quietly, a network of interactions so intricate and delicate that even the smallest disturbance can ripple through the world. Beneath the soil, roots intertwine, fungi thread through darkness, and insects crawl in a slow, tireless rhythm. Life thrives even where it is least expected, adapting, surviving, evolving. Every leaf, every drop of dew, every grain of sand has a story, a history embedded in its form and movement. Rocks, once molten, cooled into intricate formations, hold the memory of fire and pressure from the Earth's core. Volcanoes, dormant and sleeping, remind the planet of the raw energy hidden below, capable of reshaping landscapes in moments, yet from a distance, they seem almost calm, majestic, and eternal. The Earth's magnetic field extends silently into space, invisible but unwavering, guiding birds in migration, shielding life from cosmic radiation, a quiet force that protects the fragile balance of our world. Beneath our feet, tectonic plates shift imperceptibly, a slow dance that has built mountains, carved valleys, and occasionally reminded humanity of the Earth's restless heart. These movements are measured in millimeters per year, yet over eons, they sculpt continents, create islands, and shape oceans. It is a rhythm, slow and patient, one that invites reflection, reminding us of time on scales beyond human reckoning. At night, the Earth turns from the sun's gaze and darkness softens the landscape. Cities, tiny clusters of light, shimmer faintly like stars mirrored on land. The oceans glimmer with bioluminescent life, tiny sparks flickering in the waves, revealing a secret world alive in the depths. In the sky, constellations rise and fall as the planet rotates, the stars casting faint light upon mountains, forests, and deserts, blending the familiar with the infinite. Every movement of the Earth, every change in light and shadow, unfolds as a quiet symphony, a gentle reminder that life and motion continue even in the stillness of night. Rivers meander through plains, carving slow, deliberate paths, nourishing life along their banks. Wetlands breathe with a soft rhythm, filtering water and hosting creatures whose songs and calls fill the evening air with subtle melodies. Forests murmur as leaves rustle in a gentle breeze, the scent of earth, moss, and pine lingering in the cooling air. Across deserts, sands whisper with each gust of wind, the grains shifting and settling in patterns that are both random and mesmerizing. Mountains cast long shadows, glaciers creak and sigh, and the Earth's surface seems to exhale slowly, as if the entire planet is breathing in a serene, meditative rhythm. Life on Earth moves with quiet resilience. Animals, big and small, follow cycles as ancient as the planet itself. Birds trace invisible pathways in the sky, migrating with remarkable precision, guided by instincts refined over millennia. Insects move in intricate, tireless patterns, their presence often unnoticed, but vital to the balance of ecosystems. The interplay of predator and prey, growth and decay, sun and shadow, forms an endless cycle of motion, each moment both fleeting and eternal. Even the smallest organisms contribute to a complex web of life, their interactions a testament to the subtle intricacy of our world. From space, the planet's rotation is slow and soothing. Day melts into night in a graceful, continuous sweep. Seasons shift imperceptibly, painting landscapes with subtle hues and textures. Spring brings tender greens and blossoming flowers. Summer fills forests and plains with warmth and life. Autumn drapes trees in gold and crimson. Winter softens the land under blankets of snow and ice. These transformations occur naturally, quietly, like the turning pages of a vast living book, inviting contemplation and wonder at the beauty inherent in constant change. Even the smallest details hold quiet marvels. Dew clings to leaves in the early morning, tiny prisms catching the first light. Raindrops fall with gentle rhythm, nourishing soil and life. Winds brush softly against the land, bending grass, scattering petals, stirring scents and sounds. The interplay of sunlight and shadow creates textures that dance slowly across the landscape, a subtle reminder of light's quiet power. Even in silence, the planet communicates, revealing patterns and beauty that are always present if we only notice. The Earth hums with unseen energy. Geothermal warmth rises through the crust. Rivers flow with gravitational certainty. Winds carry heat and moisture across continents. Life adapts to these forces, often invisible yet persistent, creating patterns of harmony and survival. Mountains endure storms, rivers overcome obstacles, forests thrive in shifting climates, and yet all persists with a calm continuity, an almost meditative balance that has evolved over billions of years. Above all, the Earth feels like a living sanctuary. Its landscapes, waters, skies, and creatures combine in a delicate equilibrium, one that sustains and nurtures, offering moments of awe and quiet reflection. Observing from any perspective, whether from a mountaintop, a forest floor, a beach at dusk, or the silent vastness of space, the planet conveys a profound sense of serenity, reminding us that amidst all motion and change, there is stillness, there is continuity, and there is beauty beyond measure. Beneath the surface of the Earth's oceans lies a world that pulses with mystery, vast and tranquil, yet teeming with life beyond ordinary perception. Sunlight penetrates only the uppermost layers, painting the waters in hues of aquamarine and sapphire, while below, darkness stretches in infinite depth, holding secrets that have endured for millennia. Within this quiet expanse, countless creatures glide and drift, from the delicate jellyfish whose translucent bodies pulse with gentle rhythm, to the graceful manta rays, wings extended as if the sea itself were granting them passage through a liquid sky. Each movement is deliberate, measured, a slow dance choreographed by currents, pressure, and instinct. Even in the seemingly still waters, life pulses with calm intensity, a subtle symphony of motion that invites deep contemplation and wonder. Coral reefs, scattered like vibrant tapestries across the seafloor, flourish in quiet patience. Tiny polyps construct intricate structures, building homes that will shelter generations of creatures, creating ecosystems that shimmer with color and complexity. Fish of every imaginable shape and hue weave through these coral cities, their scales reflecting the filtered light above in soft, fleeting flashes. The reef breathes in unison with the ocean. Its vitality depends on the rhythm of the tides, the warmth of the waters, and the gentle currents that carry nutrients to every crevice. Observing it from a distance is like witnessing a living mosaic, each piece moving slowly, harmoniously, contributing to a larger, quiet balance that sustains itself effortlessly over centuries. Above the ocean, the air carries a faint saltiness, a reminder of the vast, restless waters below. Waves lap against distant shores with rhythmic patience, their motion persistent yet soothing. The tide rises and falls in a steady cadence, guided by the invisible pull of the moon, and with each gentle sweep of water across sand or rock, the earth whispers a soft, enduring lullaby. Beaches glimmer with scattered grains of mineral and shell, each one unique tiny fragments of the planet's long history, shifting slowly under the influence of wind, water, and time. Along these shores, life thrives quietly, from hermit crabs retreating into burrowed shells, to seabirds gliding with measured grace, wings stretched against the wind, eyes attentive yet serene. Moving inland, rivers carve their way through landscapes with patient determination, tracing curves and channels that have evolved over eons. Their waters glint in the sunlight, carrying dissolved minerals, nutrients, and life itself toward larger bodies of water, sustaining ecosystems along every bend. Forests edge these waterways, leaves brushing gently against each other in response to the softest breeze. Moss clings to stones and tree trunks, damp with the memory of rainfall, offering a cool, fragrant presence beneath the canopy. Life flourishes in these shadowed spaces, insects and small mammals moving with quiet purpose, contributing to the interwoven fabric of existence that sustains the forest as a living whole. In tropical rainforests, sunlight filters through the dense layers of leaves, creating shifting patterns of light and shadow that dance across the forest floor. Air is thick with the scent of wet earth and vegetation, each breath a mixture of growth, decay, and renewal. Trees rise like natural skyscrapers, their trunks thick and strong, roots extending deep into the soil, anchoring the forest in both stability and resilience. Birds call softly from high branches, their songs blending with the rustle of leaves, the drip of water from saturated foliage, and the distant murmur of a river winding through the greenery. Insects flit quietly from flower to flower, pollinating, feeding, and sustaining a complex network of life that thrives in almost imperceptible rhythms. Moving through temperate forests, the pace changes subtly. Light filters through branches with gentler intensity, casting delicate shadows across undergrowth that hums with life. Animals move in quieter patterns. Deer step carefully along soft earth. Squirrels traverse branches with precise agility, and owls perch silently, watching with unblinking eyes as dusk falls. Seasonal changes ripple gently through these forests. Leaves turn from green to amber and gold, drifting slowly to the ground like whispered messages from the trees. Snow may blanket the landscape in winter, muffling sound and movement, creating a serene, frozen world where life slows but does not cease, waiting patiently for the return of warmth. Deserts offer a different, yet equally mesmerizing kind of calm. Sand stretches in vast, undulating waves, sculpted by persistent winds, each dune a silent monument to the patience of time. The sun rises and falls with unhurried precision, casting long shadows that slowly shift and transform the terrain. Life here is subtle and deliberate. Cacti stand resilient, storing water and life within their thick forms. Small creatures emerge at night when temperatures cool, moving carefully through a landscape that demands both caution and ingenuity. The desert is quiet, yet it hums with the invisible energy of survival, a steady rhythm that speaks of endurance, adaptation, and balance. Mountains rise with quiet majesty, their peaks piercing clouds, ancient and unyielding. Snow and ice cling to high elevations, melting slowly to feed rivers and valleys below. Glaciers inch imperceptibly, carving landscapes with the patience of eons. Winds sweep across ridges and valleys, bending trees, whispering through crevices, and carrying distant scents of pine, stone, and earth. Life in these high places adapts to extremes, moving slowly and efficiently, conserving energy, thriving in conditions both harsh and beautiful. Rocks worn smooth by centuries of erosion tell stories of ancient seas and tectonic upheavals, silent witnesses to the passage of geological time. In polar regions, ice dominates the landscape, a vast, reflective expanse that stretches to the horizon. The aurora dances in the sky with hypnotic grace, ribbons of green and pink rippling against the darkness, shifting imperceptibly, as if the heavens themselves were breathing slowly. Beneath the ice, life persists. Microorganisms survive in frozen waters. Seals and penguins navigate frozen shores with careful efficiency, following rhythms dictated by ice and sea. Even in these extreme environments, the Earth reveals its resilience. Its capacity for sustaining life in forms both delicate and enduring. Across all these landscapes, the planet is bound together by subtle, invisible forces. Gravity pulls tides and rivers, directs winds and currents, and anchors life to the surface. Sunlight nourishes plants, drives weather, and illuminates the world in cycles both predictable and varied. Time unfolds at multiple scales. Moments pass swiftly for an individual, yet landscapes evolve over centuries and millennia. Glaciers advancing imperceptibly, mountains rising slowly, rivers tracing paths that will outlast human memory. The Earth moves with quiet assurance, maintaining patterns and cycles that sustain life in ways both visible and hidden, tangible and mysterious. Even in the smallest details, wonder emerges. Dew forms on a single leaf, a microcosm of the hydrological cycle. A single raindrop slides down a rock, connecting sky and soil. The pattern of veins on a leaf, the texture of bark, the subtle ripple of water in a stream, all are elements of a vast network of interactions, each part essential, each contributing to the calm, persistent rhythm of the planet. Observing these details encourages stillness, a gentle awareness that life is both fragile and resilient, constantly moving yet enduring, ephemeral yet eternal. The Earth's ecosystems, from deepest ocean trenches to the highest mountain peaks, exist in delicate harmony. Predators and prey, growth and decay, light and shadow, all interact in subtle, intricate patterns that balance energy and resources. Even human presence, when tempered with care and respect, becomes part of this web, a quiet reminder of responsibility, stewardship, and awareness. The planet invites reflection, offering lessons in patience, continuity, and the beauty of interconnectedness. As night falls across the continents, the Earth softens into gentle shades of gray and indigo. The world exhales slowly, shadows lengthen, and a calm permeates every corner of the globe. Creatures settle into resting patterns, waters cool and shimmer under the moon's glow, and the wind hums softly through forests, mountains, and deserts alike. In this gentle, encompassing stillness, the Earth whispers a message of quiet perseverance, of cycles and rhythms that have existed long before human memory and that will continue long after. To observe, even in imagination, is to feel a part of a larger, enduring pattern, one of wonder, serenity, and infinite calm. Beneath the visible world, beneath the forests, rivers, and oceans, lies a universe both delicate and astonishing: the soil. At first glance, it seems quiet, unassuming, yet within its depths, life thrives in rhythms so subtle that they escape ordinary notice. Microorganisms, bacteria, fungi, and countless other tiny beings weave invisible networks, decomposing fallen leaves, transforming minerals, and releasing nutrients that will feed towering trees and flowering plants above. Each particle of soil is alive, a miniature ecosystem in which countless interactions unfold in slow, deliberate motion. Here, decay becomes renewal, and the faintest motion carries echoes of life cycles spanning millennia. Roots of trees and plants stretch deep into this living matrix, intertwining with fungi in symbiotic dance. Mycorrhizal networks, delicate threads of connection, extend through the soil like the hidden veins of the Earth itself, linking individual plants into a community that communicates chemically, sharing resources, warning of threats, and supporting one another in ways invisible to the eye. Each root tip senses water and nutrients, bending and growing with patience, responding to subtle gradients of moisture and minerals. Life underground mirrors life above, a quiet reflection of resilience and balance. In the forest floor, layers of leaf litter rustle softly, moved by insects and small animals. Ants carve pathways with patient determination, creating tunnels and chambers that aerate soil and recycle organic matter. Beetles, worms, and countless other creatures perform their unseen labors, contributing to the slow, steady cycle of transformation. Each interaction, imperceptible on human timescales, supports ecosystems visible above, sustaining forests, grasslands, and wetlands with a quiet, patient diligence that has persisted for millions of years. The flora above responds to these hidden foundations with exquisite precision, leaves open to the sun, capturing light in delicate structures designed to convert energy into life. Chlorophyll absorbs photons, triggering biochemical reactions that sustain growth, and each leaf exudes tiny traces of chemicals that attract pollinators, repel herbivores, or communicate with nearby plants. Flowers bloom with astonishing diversity, petals shaped, colored, and scented to engage specific creatures. Each blossom is both a marvel of design and a participant in the larger web of life, interacting with wind, insects, birds, and even mammals in a quiet, orchestrated rhythm. Forests hum in a subtle resonance. The sound of wind through branches, the drip of water from leaves after rainfall, and the soft rustle of small animals create a layered symphony of gentle motion. Sunlight filters through canopies in slow, shifting patterns, illuminating moss, lichens, and ferns with soft, transient light. Ephemeral shadows drift across the forest floor, while streams weave through trees, carrying nutrients, cooling the air, and sustaining life along their banks. In this tranquil interplay of water, light, and movement, the forest breathes, alive with a gentle, persistent pulse that invites calm observation and quiet reflection. Deserts, too, harbor life beneath their stark, sun-drenched surfaces. Beneath shifting sands, roots anchor resilient plants that store precious water. Tiny insects navigate heat and cold with careful efficiency, and microorganisms endure extremes of temperature and dryness. Life in these arid landscapes demonstrates subtle ingenuity, each organism perfectly adapted to survive, thrive, and persist with minimal energy. At night, when temperatures drop, the desert awakens in gentle activity. Creatures emerge, flowers open, and the sand, cool and still, reflects starlight in soft, unbroken patterns. Even in seeming emptiness, the desert is alive, its rhythm slow, deliberate, and quietly mesmerizing. Mountains hold life in vertical layers. Lower slopes host shrubs and forests, while higher altitudes support alpine meadows and mosses clinging to stone. Snowmelt trickles into streams, shaping valleys, nourishing plants, and sustaining animals that move with measured precision. Eagles soar above, scanning for subtle movements below, their wings outstretched in silent grace. Even rocks, seemingly inert, house lichens and hardy plants, and beneath them, small animals burrow, finding shelter and food in the protective embrace of stone and soil. The mountain is alive, not just in its flora and fauna, but in the very energy that shaped its peaks, the wind that sweeps across its ridges, and the sun that casts shifting shadows across valleys. Polar ice conceals a world of delicate activity. Beneath frozen surfaces, tiny microorganisms survive in liquid pockets, metabolizing slowly, a testament to life's resilience. Seals glide through icy waters, their movements elegant and deliberate, while penguins navigate frozen plains with coordinated rhythm. The aurora above dances in slow motion, ribbons of light unfurling like soft silk across the dark sky. Even in extreme cold, the Earth persists in quiet equilibrium, demonstrating the adaptability and persistence of life in forms both subtle and extraordinary. The Earth's rhythms extend into the air as well. Pollination occurs not only by insects, but also through gentle winds, distributing pollen over vast distances. Clouds, shaped by currents and temperature, drift across continents, releasing rain in patterns that sustain life. The sound of distant thunderstorms reverberates through landscapes, a slow, measured percussion that shapes rivers, nourishes soil, and maintains cycles of growth and decay. In every breath of wind, in every drop of rain, the planet speaks of continuity, persistence, and the gentle, unceasing motion of life itself. Even the tiniest droplets of water tell stories. Morning dew clings to grass, reflecting the first light, a fleeting yet persistent presence. Raindrops trace paths along leaves and rocks, nourishing life and shaping the land. Each movement deliberate yet fluid, blending with countless others in rhythms too complex to track, yet perfectly orchestrated. Every ripple in a pond, Every streamlet flowing through soil contributes to a vast, interconnected network of energy and motion. Observing these details evokes quiet wonder, a sense of connection to the subtle, persistent pulse of the planet. The Earth's magnetic field, though invisible, guides life in silent ways. Birds navigate thousands of miles during migration. Sea turtles find their natal beaches, and countless organisms respond to its presence in ways only partially understood. This field, extending far beyond the surface, shields life from cosmic radiation, an unseen but essential guardian of stability. Alongside gravity, sunlight, and chemical cycles, it is part of a delicate balance that sustains life on every scale, from the smallest microbe to the largest mammal, from the tiniest grain of sand to the mightiest mountain. At night, the earth softens, shadows stretch and merge, rivers glint faintly with reflected starlight, and winds carry whispers across deserts, forests, and oceans alike. Life slows into nocturnal rhythms, creatures resting, moving, or hunting with calm precision. The planet's pulse continues uninterrupted, a slow, rhythmic beat that resonates through soil, water, and air, connecting every corner of the globe in a vast, silent symphony. Even in darkness, the Earth reveals beauty, patterns, and motion, a reminder that life persists quietly, patiently, and profoundly. As the soil supports roots and fungi, rivers carry nutrients, and forests hum with life, it becomes clear that the planet is not merely a backdrop for life. It is a living, breathing entity, a complex network of interactions, cycles, and rhythms. Every layer, from deepest soil to highest canopy, contributes to a harmony that has evolved over billions of years, a balance so delicate that it can be easily disrupted, yet so resilient that it endures through unimaginable change. To observe the Earth is to witness both fragility and persistence, beauty and function, in a continuous, calming flow. The air above the Earth is a living, shifting ocean of its own. Winds sweep across continents and oceans alike, moving with invisible currents that shape weather, redistribute heat, and carry moisture across vast distances. The jet streams, high and unseen, race around the planet, guiding storms and influencing climates, while gentle breezes stir leaves, grasses, and waves in quiet, unending motion. Even when imperceptible, the air hums with energy, a subtle reminder of the forces that sustain life, invisible yet inseparable from the world below. Clouds form in soft, delicate patterns, shaped by temperature, pressure, and the ceaseless motion of air currents. Some float lazily, like cotton drifting on an unseen river, while others build with slow intent, towering into great formations that promise rain or snow. They change gradually, a dance of condensation and evaporation, shifting color with the angle of sunlight, painting the sky in soft pastels at dawn, in molten gold at dusk, and in muted blues and grays throughout the day. Clouds are both ephemeral and eternal, transient shapes that move with patience, sustaining life with their gentle gift of water. Rain falls in quiet rhythm, each droplet a messenger from the clouds, tracing arcs and patterns before touching leaves, soil, and stone. Streams swell and rivers gather strength, carrying dissolved minerals and nutrients to fields, forests, and oceans. Water seeps into the soil, nourishing roots, replenishing aquifers, and feeding life in subtle, patient ways. In the desert, rare storms transform arid land into brief, luminous tapestries of color, encouraging dormant seeds to awaken, flowers to bloom, and life to pulse again in rhythmic celebration. Even a single rainfall is a story, connecting sky and land, life and atmosphere, in a quiet, ongoing narrative that unfolds without urgency. Deep within the oceans, currents flow like veins of the planet itself. Warm equatorial waters move slowly toward the poles, while cold polar waters return along invisible paths beneath the surface. These currents regulate the climate, carrying heat, distributing nutrients, and sustaining marine ecosystems on scales both vast and subtle. Creatures of every size move within these currents, from the tiniest plankton to massive schools of fish, each interaction contributing to a dynamic, living system that hums with quiet energy. The ocean, in its stillness and depth, mirrors the planet's own heartbeat, slow, steady, and profoundly enduring. Occasionally, the Earth releases bursts of raw energy, reminding us of its vibrant, restless nature. Volcanoes, dormant for centuries, awaken with slow inevitability, sending molten rock, gas, and ash into the air. Lava flows like liquid stone, reshaping landscapes over weeks or years, while clouds of vapor rise into the sky, mixing with the atmosphere in slow diffusion. Yet even in these displays of force, there is rhythm, a careful unfolding that has shaped continents, created islands, and provided fertile soil over countless millennia. Volcanoes are both destructive and creative, teaching patience and resilience through the cycles of eruption and renewal. Thunderstorms bring another kind of quiet spectacle. Lightning arcs across the sky, jagged yet fleeting, illuminating clouds and landscapes with brief flashes of brilliance. Thunder rolls in low, sonorous tones, a natural percussion that resonates across hills, valleys, and plains. Rain follows in a gentle cascade or rhythmic torrent, saturating the land, nourishing rivers, and creating ephemeral rivers of light and motion across soil and rock. These storms, though intense, move with an underlying predictability, guided by forces that have persisted through eons, reminding observers of the subtle balance between power and calm. Auroras appear in high latitudes, ribbons of green, pink, and violet curling slowly across the night sky. Charged particles from the sun meet the Earth's magnetic field, producing lights that sway and shimmer with hypnotic grace. Their movements are slow and deliberate, a celestial ballet that has inspired wonder for countless generations. Beneath them, ice and snow reflect faint colors, the silent landscape amplifying the ethereal glow. Observing an aurora is to witness the meeting of unseen forces, an elegant reminder of energy, magnetism, and motion flowing through the planet in delicate equilibrium. Hurricanes and cyclones, though powerful, move with patterns dictated by the Earth's rotation, ocean temperatures, and atmospheric pressure. These immense systems of wind and rain swirl with both fury and precision, redistributing heat and moisture across oceans and continents. From space, they form graceful spirals, intricate and symmetric, almost sculptural in their design. Their energy is vast, yet within their structure is a slow, inevitable rhythm, the manifestation of natural forces working in concert across unimaginable scales. Life, in turn, adapts to their presence, from coastal ecosystems that recover and evolve to creatures that sense and respond to approaching storms with remarkable instinct. The Earth's magnetic field extends far beyond the atmosphere, an unseen shield that bends and directs charged particles from the sun. Its presence is subtle yet critical, guiding navigational patterns of countless species and protecting the surface from radiation that would otherwise disrupt life. Alongside the oceans, atmosphere, and soil, the magnetic field forms another layer of the planet's complex choreography, invisible yet essential, moving slowly, patiently, in harmony with forces both seen and unseen. Even in the stillest moments, the Earth communicates its motion and energy. Leaves tremble gently in faint breezes, rivers glint softly in the sun, and clouds drift with unhurried purpose across vast skies. Insects hum in delicate rhythm, birds stir quietly in canopies, and animals move with calm efficiency in response to temperature, light, and hunger. These movements, though small, are connected to larger patterns. The rotation of the planet, the pull of the moon on tides, the slow drift of tectonic plates beneath continents. The Earth is a web of interdependence, each part moving with subtle awareness of the whole. Mountain peaks catch clouds in their silent arms, slowing the passage of storms, guiding winds, and channeling precipitation into rivers. Valleys collect water and soil, supporting forests and meadows that thrive in their protected microclimates. Glaciers creep imperceptibly, sculpting rock, forming lakes and feeding rivers that sustain life long after the ice has passed. In these high places, the Earth demonstrates patience on scales that dwarf human perception, reminding us that even the mightiest features of the planet emerge from slow, deliberate processes. Deserts, though seemingly barren, are alive with subtle energy. Sand shifts with the wind, forming ever-changing ripples that record the passage of time. Rare rains awaken dormant seeds, prompting sudden blooms of color across the land. Animals, adapted to extremes, move quietly under the stars, their nocturnal rhythms harmonizing with the cool night air. The desert demonstrates a gentle, austere beauty, revealing the persistence of life in the harshest conditions, the elegance of survival, and the quiet poetry of adaptation. Even in darkness, the planet pulses with life and energy. Oceans reflect the moonlight, currents move beneath the surface, and bioluminescent creatures flicker like tiny stars within deep waters. Forests whisper in the night breeze. Mountains hold frozen snow and ice, and deserts breathe in slow cycles of warmth and chill. The Earth moves as a single, cohesive system, a living entity whose rhythms, though sometimes imperceptible, continue in unbroken harmony. To witness this is to feel the vast, patient heartbeat of a world that has endured and adapted over billions of years, quiet yet endlessly dynamic. Across forests, plains, and oceans, life unfolds in an intricate, deliberate rhythm, each creature moving with purpose, yet blending seamlessly into the larger pattern of the planet. In the dense canopies of tropical forests, birds flit gracefully between branches, their feathers catching sunlight in flashes of emerald, sapphire, and gold. Their songs weave through the air, soft melodies that echo against trunks and leaves, creating a gentle symphony of motion and sound. Monkeys swing with calculated ease, their limbs tracing arcs in the slow currents of air between trees, while insects move invisibly, performing essential tasks that sustain the forest with quiet efficiency. On the forest floor, the pulse of life continues in subtle, unseen ways. Ants march in long, unbroken lines, transporting nutrients, aerating soil, and maintaining complex colonies with almost imperceptible coordination. Beetles and worms work tirelessly in the humus, breaking down fallen leaves and dead wood, returning essential minerals to the soil. Every small movement contributes to a larger balance, an invisible choreography that ensures the survival of plants and animals alike. Even the faintest whisper of wind or the soft patter of rain influences these creatures, shaping their actions and maintaining the quiet rhythm of the ecosystem. In savannas and grasslands, life moves with a different cadence, broad and expansive. Herds of ungulates traverse vast plains, grazing with careful, rhythmic precision, their hooves stirring dust that rises in slow, golden clouds. Predators, patient and observant, follow from a distance, their movements measured and deliberate, conserving energy until the perfect moment arrives. Birds of prey circle above, silent sentinels tracing invisible lines through the air, while smaller creatures dart between grasses, avoiding shadows and searching for sustenance. Each life form, large or small, participates in the subtle equilibrium of these open landscapes, a complex web of motion and survival that unfolds quietly beneath the sun. The oceans, by contrast, hold life in an entirely different scale and dimension. Surface waters shimmer with the movement of schools of fish, thousands of bodies glinting in unison, responding to currents, predators, and each other with precise synchrony. Below, in the midwater depths, creatures drift like drifting lanterns, bioluminescent forms pulsing in slow, hypnotic patterns, illuminating the darkness with gentle, rhythmic light. The deep ocean hums with quiet energy, currents carrying nutrients and life across vast distances, connecting ecosystems in ways both subtle and profound. Whales traverse these waters with deliberate grace, their songs resonating through the deep, echoing across miles, a quiet language of connection and continuity. Coral reefs, in particular, showcase a remarkable concentration of life and color. Polyps build their calcium homes with painstaking patience, layer by layer, creating intricate structures that shelter a multitude of organisms. Fish of countless species weave through these living cities, each movement measured yet fluid, a delicate interplay of predator, prey, and mutualism. Tiny crustaceans and mollusks inhabit every crevice, unseen yet essential, maintaining the health of this delicate ecosystem. Light filters down from above, dappling the reef in gentle patterns, while the rhythm of the waves creates a subtle pulse, a heartbeat of water and life that persists in calm, enduring cycles. In rivers, lakes, and wetlands, life flows with similar quiet complexity. Fish move in slow schools, insects skim the water's surface, and amphibians call softly from the reeds and vegetation along the banks. Aquatic plants sway in currents, their movement slow yet purposeful, providing shelter and food for innumerable organisms. The balance between predator and prey, plant and animal, is maintained through cycles that have persisted for millennia, a testament to the subtle patience and resilience of natural systems. Even the soft ripple of water across stones, the gentle hum of insects in the air, contributes to the overall harmony of these habitats. Mountains, with their steep slopes and varied climates, sustain life in surprising abundance. Alpine meadows bloom briefly in the warm months, while hardy plants cling to rocky outcrops, capturing every drop of moisture and bit of sunlight. Mountain goats navigate cliffs with effortless precision, moving in careful arcs that minimize risk while accessing scarce vegetation. Birds nest in hidden crevices, their songs carried across valleys by winds that sweep in slow, graceful currents. Predators, from foxes to raptors, move with quiet efficiency, conserving energy in the thin air, demonstrating life's adaptability to extreme conditions. Polar regions, though austere, reveal life's persistence and ingenuity. Seals glide beneath ice, their movements smooth and unhurried, while penguins traverse frozen expanses with coordinated rhythm, sliding, waddling, and diving in the soft, cold light. Even microorganisms, trapped in ice or liquid pockets, endure the extreme conditions, metabolizing slowly in a steady, patient pulse of life. The aurora above, curling and flowing in hypnotic waves of green and pink, mirrors the quiet energy below, a celestial reflection of the planet's dynamic yet serene systems. In deserts, animals awaken at night, responding to subtle shifts in temperature and light. Small rodents emerge to forage, insects move with quiet precision, and predators stalk in careful, measured steps. Plants, adapted to extreme dryness, store water and nutrients, blooming briefly after rare rains in sudden bursts of life. Even sand, though seemingly inert, participates in the rhythm of the ecosystem, shifting slowly under the wind, recording time in delicate ripples and dunes that change imperceptibly, yet persistently. Life, from the tiniest microbe to the largest whale, is bound by energy, cycles, and interaction. Food chains unfold with slow precision, resources are shared or competed for with deliberate balance, and organisms respond to their surroundings with instinctual awareness, each action contributing to the quiet, enduring harmony of the earth. Sunlight drives photosynthesis, wind carries pollen and seeds, water nourishes soil and plants, and gravity shapes movement, all within a carefully coordinated web of cause and effect. Observing these connections invites a sense of calm understanding, a recognition that life is sustained not by haste, but by patience, persistence, and delicate balance. Even human presence interacts with this rhythm. Though often loud and disruptive, careful observation, study, and stewardship can align with the Earth's natural pulse. Gardens, forests, and protected lands thrive when humans act with awareness and patience, blending subtly with the intricate systems that already exist. In such moments, humanity becomes part of the ongoing story, a quiet participant in cycles that stretch across millennia, a reminder that life, in all its forms, persists through cooperation, balance, and steady rhythm. As night descends, the earth softens into muted shades of shadow and starlight. Forests murmur in the gentle breeze, rivers shimmer under moonlight, and oceans pulse quietly with tides both visible and hidden. Predators rest, prey sleep, and the planet exhales slowly, a deep, calm breath that stretches from deserts to mountains, from forests to oceans. The interconnectedness of all life, the subtle interplay of energy, water, air, and soil continues uninterrupted, a continuous, hypnotic flow that invites observation, reflection, and deep relaxation. The earth, alive in every corner, reveals beauty in motion, balance, and persistence. Its creatures, landscapes, and forces move with deliberate patience, a constant, unhurried pulse that carries life forward in quiet harmony. To witness this, even in imagination, is to feel part of a vast, enduring network of motion and connection, a living system that has endured billions of years and will continue long into the future. In the calm, rhythmic dance of life, the planet whispers its quiet wisdom, that patience, balance, and subtle energy sustain all things, visible and invisible, above and below the surface, across oceans, forests, mountains, and skies alike. Time flows differently on Earth, measured not only in minutes or hours, but in cycles so vast they span seasons, centuries, and millennia. The planet itself moves in rhythms both subtle and profound, guided by the slow rotation of its axis, the orbit around the sun, and the quiet shifts of tectonic plates beneath continents. Day yields to night in gentle progression, sunlight softening across mountains, rivers, and oceans, tracing shadows that lengthen and contract with patient inevitability. Even in these daily motions, there is a rhythm that soothes, a reminder that life continues with steady, unhurried consistency. Seasons transform landscapes with subtle artistry. Spring awakens forests with tender green leaves, blossoms unfurling in delicate patterns, and streams swelling with snowmelt from distant mountains. Birds return from migrations, filling the air with melodies woven carefully into the cadence of the season. In summer, life reaches its fullest expression. Forests thrum with the motion of insects, mammals forage and hunt with steady efficiency, rivers sparkle under long days, and oceans warm just enough to sustain a profusion of life near the surface. Autumn follows, brushing trees in gold, amber, and crimson as plants prepare for rest and animals adjust to dwindling warmth and sunlight. Finally, winter drapes the earth in stillness, snow softening every surface, rivers and lakes slowing their flow, and forests moving into a quiet pause that speaks of endurance and patient waiting. Rivers are the arteries of the planet, carrying water, nutrients, and life across continents. They begin as tiny trickles in mountain snowmelt or springs, gradually joining other streams to form vast meandering paths that shape valleys, plains, and deltas. Each river has a unique personality. Some flow gently, barely disturbing the soil. Others rush in roaring torrents, sculpting the land with unstoppable force. Along their banks, life thrives in quiet abundance. Fish glide in rhythmic schools, amphibians call softly to one another, and plants sway with the current, their roots anchored yet responsive to the ever-changing flow. The river's motion is a continuous story, slow yet inexorable, shaping landscapes and sustaining life over centuries and beyond. Oceans hold the Earth's heartbeat in their depths. Currents move with the patience of geologic time, carrying warmth from equator to pole, distributing nutrients and sustaining life far from sunlight. Layers of water stratify, each with its own temperature, salinity, and creatures, moving in subtle synchrony. From the vibrant surface, teeming with fish, plankton, and coral, to the silent abyssal plains inhabited by organisms adapted to near-freezing darkness, the oceans exemplify patience and quiet continuity. Even the smallest currents ripple through ecosystems, connecting distant habitats, sustaining life, and orchestrating patterns that extend across the globe. Tides, guided by the gentle pull of the moon, rise and fall with predictable elegance. Shores are caressed and reshaped in their quiet rhythm, sands shifting imperceptibly, shells rolling in gentle arcs, and tiny creatures burrowing or surfacing in time with the water's motion. The ebb and flow nourish mangroves, estuaries, and wetlands, creating liminal spaces where fresh and salt water mingle, fostering life uniquely adapted to these subtle, transitional zones. In watching the tide, one can perceive a pulse of the planet itself, a rhythm both eternal and immediate, soothing in its consistency and delicate in its effects. Beneath the surface, glaciers move with patient force. They creep slowly across valleys, grinding rock, sculpting landscapes, and forming lakes that reflect sky and cloud. Though their motion is imperceptible in a human lifetime, their influence is immense, shaping mountains, rivers, and ecosystems over millennia. Snow and ice accumulate, compact, and melt in a rhythm dictated by temperature, sunlight, and the quiet energy of the Earth itself. These frozen giants exemplify time on scales beyond ordinary perception, a testament to the planet's capacity for both endurance and change. Tectonic plates beneath continents shift imperceptibly, moving only a few centimeters per year, yet their motions are monumental over geological time. Mountains rise, valleys sink, and ocean basins form, all in a slow, deliberate dance of rock and molten material. Earthquakes, though sudden and sometimes destructive, are part of this long rhythm, releases of pressure in a system that has been moving for billions of years. Volcanoes erupt with deliberate inevitability, creating islands, enriching soils, and reminding observers that the planet is alive, restless, and continuously reshaping itself in subtle yet profound ways. The cycles of life mirror these geological and hydrological rhythms. Plants grow, reproduce, decay, and return nutrients to the soil. Animals move, feed, and rest in carefully calibrated patterns aligned with the rotation of the Earth, seasonal shifts, and ecological balances. Even microorganisms respond to changes in moisture, temperature, and light, perpetuating cycles that maintain the stability of larger ecosystems. The interplay of these countless rhythms forms a tapestry of motion that is both complex and extraordinarily calming, a system of quiet order beneath apparent chaos. Rainfall is another quiet orchestrator of the Earth's rhythms. Gentle showers nourish leaves, moisten soil, and replenish rivers, while heavier storms sculpt landscapes more dramatically. Clouds form and disperse, moved by winds and guided by temperature and pressure. Snow falls softly in winter, covering mountains and plains with insulating blankets, slowing processes, yet preserving life for the warmer months ahead. In deserts, rare rains awaken dormant seeds, producing sudden bursts of ephemeral beauty, while in wetlands, consistent precipitation maintains rich biodiversity. Each drop of water participates in a planetary conversation, moving in cycles that have persisted for eons. The Earth's energy extends into the sky as well. Sunlight drives photosynthesis, feeding life directly and indirectly. Light filters through canopies, illuminates oceans, and casts gentle shadows across mountains and valleys. The angle of the sun, changing daily and seasonally, influences temperature, weather, and the rhythms of life. Clouds form in response to heat and moisture, winds follow temperature gradients, and storms develop in a slow, deliberate balance of forces. Every breath of wind, every ripple of sunlight is part of an interconnected system, a subtle choreography that sustains the living planet. Even in darkness, the planet moves in quiet, persistent patterns. Nocturnal creatures awaken, Tides continue to flow, and the earth exhales in slow rhythm. Ice and snow reflect faint starlight, rivers shimmer under moonlight, and deep oceans pulse with unseen currents. Mountains, deserts, and forests retain heat, moisture, and energy, slowly influencing climates and ecosystems across vast distances. The planet's pulse is continuous, hypnotic in its constancy, inviting a sense of calm and connection to the immense enduring systems that support life on every scale. To witness the Earth's cycles, from the smallest microbial interactions in soil to the slow drift of continents, is to feel time in layers, immediate, seasonal, and geological. Each moment is nested within longer patterns, creating continuity that persists despite change. Life thrives because of these rhythms, moving with patience, responding to subtle cues, and maintaining balance in ways both visible and invisible. Observing this interconnectedness brings a profound sense of calm, a recognition that the planet operates in harmony across scales, sustaining life with quiet, measured persistence. As night descends across the Earth, a subtle transformation unfolds. Forests, plains, and oceans soften into muted shades, and creatures that have waited patiently emerge to navigate the cool, quiet world. In tropical and subtropical forests, the canopy darkens into rich green and shadowed brown, leaves rustling softly as nocturnal animals awaken. Bats sweep silently through the air, wings brushing with delicate precision, hunting for insects that flit in the dimming light. Tree frogs call gently from hidden perches, their melodic croaks creating a layered rhythm that echoes softly through the understory. Every sound, every motion is measured and deliberate, a testament to the patient pulse of life that continues unseen during daylight. Below the forest floor, life moves even more quietly. Nocturnal mammals emerge from burrows and hollow trunks, small paws brushing against damp soil, noses twitching to detect scent trails invisible to human eyes. Insects and arachnids scuttle across leaves and branches, performing essential roles in decomposition and nutrient recycling, all while avoiding predators that move with calm, patient efficiency. The interplay of predator and prey, herbivore and decomposer, creates an invisible choreography, a living rhythm that sustains the forest's vitality throughout the night. Even in complete darkness, energy flows steadily, a slow, unbroken cycle of motion and adaptation. The oceans, under the cover of night, reveal a hidden world of quiet luminosity. Bioluminescent organisms pulse with gentle light, tracing undulating patterns that resemble stars drifting through water. Deep-sea creatures navigate the abyss with slow, deliberate motions, each movement measured, conserving energy in an environment where survival depends on patience and adaptation. Currents carry tiny particles of life, nutrients drifting for miles, connecting ecosystems across vast, unseen expanses. Whales glide through these waters with graceful arcs, their songs resonating in the darkness, long, melodic vibrations that link distant parts of the ocean in an invisible network of communication. Reefs, often bursting with color in sunlight, assume a different, quieter beauty at night. Fish seek shelter among corals, while nocturnal species emerge from hidden crevices, feeding and moving in measured arcs. Tiny crustaceans and mollusks glide across the reef's surface, performing the subtle work that maintains balance and health in this vibrant ecosystem. The motion of waves above, gentle and consistent, pulses through the water, creating a slow, hypnotic rhythm that soothes and sustains the delicate dance of life below. Even in darkness, the reef continues its patient, enduring symphony. In subtropical forests, the night brings a gentle hush, broken only by occasional rustling or distant calls. Owls glide silently among branches, their wings adjusting air pressure in subtle arcs, eyes scanning for small mammals. Insects hum softly, their bioluminescent signals blinking rhythmically like tiny lanterns in the darkness. Predators move with restrained energy, conserving strength for precise moments of need, while herbivores forage cautiously, guided by instinct and the quiet illumination of moonlight filtering through the canopy. Every movement is interconnected, contributing to the calm balance that defines these ecosystems. Grasslands and savannas, too, enter a nocturnal rhythm. Large herbivores graze under muted starlight, moving slowly across plains, sensing the subtle vibrations of earth and air. Predators, patient and calculated, trace faint patterns in the grass, coordinating movement with instinctive precision. Crickets and other insects fill the night with a soft, continuous hum, creating a steady backdrop for the larger movements of animals across the landscape. The interplay of sound, motion, and environmental cues forms a complex, calming rhythm, a living meditation of survival and coexistence. Rivers and wetlands reveal a quieter side of life at night. Fish move in slow, fluid arcs beneath reflective surfaces, while amphibians call softly to one another from reeds and lily pads. Insects skim across the water's surface, their motion delicate, barely perceptible. Aquatic plants sway gently with each ripple, roots anchored firmly yet responsive to subtle currents. The nocturnal cycle maintains an invisible equilibrium, conserving energy, distributing nutrients, and supporting the diversity of life that thrives in these liminal spaces. Even the soft lapping of water against banks contributes to this tranquil, interconnected pulse. In deserts, night brings relief from the sun's intensity, allowing a burst of cautious activity. Small mammals emerge, moving in deliberate patterns to forage. Insects navigate the cooled sands with careful precision, and nocturnal predators hunt with quiet patience. Rare blooms, triggered by temperature and moisture shifts, open under the moon's faint light, revealing brief, ephemeral colors across the landscape. The desert, though harsh and sparse by day, becomes a world alive with measured, deliberate motion, demonstrating adaptation, endurance, and the quiet poetry of survival. Even in polar regions, night does not halt life. Though prolonged darkness blankets ice and snow, creatures adapted to extreme conditions continue their rhythms. Seals move with smooth arcs beneath frozen waters. Penguins traverse icy expanses with coordinated steps, and birds follow faint currents of air in search of food. Microorganisms metabolize slowly in ice and liquid pockets, demonstrating resilience in a world of extreme conditions. Auroras shimmer in the sky, slow ribbons of green, pink, and violet reflecting faintly on ice, echoing the silent pulse of life below. Life across the planet, nocturnal or otherwise, reflects energy, cycles, and interdependence. Each species moves with purpose, responding to cues from light, temperature, moisture, and the actions of other creatures. Food chains unfold with quiet precision, resources are shared or competed for, and ecosystems maintain balance in ways both visible and hidden. Sunlight, even when absent at night, continues to influence cycles stored in water, soil, and organisms, preparing the earth for the next day, for the next season, for the continuation of life in steady, enduring rhythms. Even human activity, when gentle and conscious, can harmonize with these nocturnal cycles. Observation, study, and preservation allow humans to participate in the quiet rhythms of the planet, moving with awareness rather than disruption. Gardens, nocturnal walks through forests, or careful maintenance of aquatic ecosystems provide examples of coexistence, reminding us that life thrives when aligned with Earth's patient patterns. In the calm of night, one can sense the interconnectedness of all life, the subtle interplay of energy, and the enduring flow of existence that spans continents, oceans, and atmospheres alike. As night deepens, the earth softens into near silence. Forests murmur in gentle breezes, rivers reflect the faint shimmer of starlight, and oceans pulse quietly with unseen currents. Mountains and deserts breathe slowly, holding the energy of the day and releasing it in measured, unhurried arcs. life rests and awakens in perfect balance, guided by cycles too vast for immediate perception. The planet itself moves in quiet, continuous motion, a vast hypnotic rhythm that soothes, calms, and invites a sense of deep connection to the enduring systems that support every form of life. In this nocturnal world, Earth reveals its subtle beauty. The slow pulse of tides, the patient glide of nocturnal creatures, the gentle hum of forests and grasslands, and the quiet, enduring dance of light and shadow. Observing this rhythm fosters calm, a recognition of the planet's persistence, resilience, and harmony. Every movement, sound, and change participates in an unbroken pattern that has sustained life for billions of years, a soft, continuous lullaby that invites reflection, relaxation, and the serene awareness of belonging to a living, breathing world. The Earth is a symphony of interconnected systems where climate, oceans, and ecosystems converse in subtle, persistent rhythms. Winds sweep across continents and seas, shaping weather and redistributing warmth with quiet precision. Warm air rises in the tropics, cool air descends at the poles, and these movements create a global circulation that guides clouds, rain, and temperature. Every gust, every whisper of wind contributes to a vast network connecting mountains, plains, forests, and deserts in an intricate dance of energy and motion. Oceans, vast and deep, are both regulators and participants in this planetary conversation. Currents transport warmth from equatorial regions to the poles, distributing heat in a slow, methodical flow. Nutrients move in tandem, sustaining life far from sunlight, while waves and tides shape coastlines in gentle, persistent arcs. Even the tiniest plankton, drifting in rhythmic pulses with the currents, contributes to the balance of carbon, oxygen, and energy within this enormous fluid system. Each movement, imperceptible to most, is a quiet expression of the Earth's enduring equilibrium. Rivers, too, carry life and energy across landscapes. Snowmelt from distant mountains trickles into streams that gradually merge into mighty rivers winding through forests, plains, and wetlands. Each river nourishes the land, replenishes aquifers, and provides habitat for countless organisms. Fish navigate its currents, insects skim its surface, and amphibians call softly from reeds along the banks. Even the smallest ripple participates in this delicate choreography, connecting the land to the sea, linking ecosystems in a network of subtle, patient motion. Water's journey is continuous, circulating between ocean, atmosphere, and land in a cycle that has persisted for billions of years. Evaporation lifts moisture into the air, forming clouds that drift across continents. Rain falls in measured arcs, feeding soil, rivers, and lakes, while some water infiltrates deep into the ground, nourishing roots and aquifers with gentle persistence. Snow and ice accumulate and melt. Glaciers move in slow arcs, and ice caps shift imperceptibly, regulating climate and sustaining life even in extreme environments. The hydrological cycle is both a mechanism and a lullaby, a continuous rhythm that balances energy, sustains ecosystems, and whispers of continuity. Animal migrations trace the rhythms of this cycle with deliberate precision. Birds follow invisible maps across continents, guided by magnetic fields, star patterns, and subtle cues in air currents. Wildebeest traverse savannas in enormous sweeping arcs, moving in response to seasonal rains and grazing availability, their motions synchronized with predators, rivers, and vegetation cycles. Marine creatures, from sea turtles to whales, navigate vast oceans, guided by temperature, currents, and innate knowledge encoded in their very being. Each migration is a manifestation of the planet's persistent rhythms, a quiet choreography that reflects both survival and harmony. In forests, seasonal changes dictate subtle behaviors. Trees sense lengthening or shortening days, adjusting leaf growth, flowering, and dormancy with remarkable accuracy. Animals respond in turn, Insects emerge, birds breed, and mammals prepare for periods of abundance or scarcity. Even the smallest fungi, bacteria, and microorganisms modulate activity with temperature and moisture, contributing to nutrient cycling and ecosystem balance. The forest, alive in countless layers, exhibits a slow, deliberate pulse where every organism participates in the ongoing story of life, growth, and renewal. Deserts, seemingly harsh and empty, reveal their own quiet rhythm. Life awakens under the softening sun or the cool of night. Seeds germinate after rare rains, plants bloom briefly in dazzling colors, and animals move with energy conservation, responding to subtle shifts in temperature and moisture. Sand dunes shift imperceptibly under the wind, tracing patterns that reflect both randomness and order, illustrating the delicate balance between change and persistence. The desert is alive in measured, elegant motion, a silent testament to endurance, patience, and subtle beauty. Even the polar regions follow predictable, patient cycles. Sea ice expands and contracts, shaping the habitat of seals, penguins, and polar bears. Phytoplankton bloom in nutrient-rich waters during brief summers, feeding entire food webs. Glaciers creep with imperceptible motion, carving valleys and feeding rivers. Aurorae shimmer in the sky, a slow, hypnotic reflection of solar energy interacting with Earth's magnetic field. Life, though adapted to extreme conditions, flows in harmony with these cycles, a quiet testament to resilience and adaptation. The interplay of climate and ecosystems extends to the smallest organisms as well. Soil microbes regulate decomposition and nutrient cycling. Phytoplankton contribute to oxygen production and carbon absorption. Fungi connect plants through hidden networks of symbiosis. Even minor fluctuations in temperature, moisture, or light can ripple through ecosystems, influencing countless interactions. Yet the system maintains balance, a patient equilibrium that endures through storms, droughts, and long-term climatic shifts, demonstrating the subtle, enduring intelligence of Earth's natural systems. Volcanoes, earthquakes, and other geophysical processes further shape this balance. Lava flows, landslides, and tectonic shifts alter habitats, creating new opportunities for life to flourish. The slow accumulation of sediment forms fertile valleys, river deltas, and plains where forests, grasslands, and wetlands emerge. Even destructive forces operate in measured ways over long timescales, contributing to a planetary rhythm that has persisted for billions of years. Life adapts, adjusts, and thrives, participating in the patient, unhurried cycles of creation and transformation. From mountains to oceans, deserts to forests, life moves with persistent rhythm. Plants, animals, microorganisms, and even geological features interact in subtle ways, creating an intricate balance. Energy flows continuously, from sunlight to photosynthesis, from herbivore to predator, from river to ocean, from glacier to valley. Observing these interactions, even in imagination, evokes calm and wonder, revealing a world where motion is deliberate, cycles are patient, and every action is connected to a larger, enduring harmony. At night, the planet softens, exhaling slowly under starlight and moonlight. Forests murmur with gentle breezes, rivers shimmer faintly, and oceans pulse with hidden currents. Nocturnal animals awaken, continuing cycles that have persisted for millennia. Even in darkness, life and energy flow, interconnected, synchronized, and patiently sustained. The Earth moves in slow, deliberate arcs, a living entity whose rhythm is both hypnotic and comforting, a constant lullaby that reassures and soothes all who observe its steady persistence. The balance of water, air, life, and energy demonstrates the elegance of natural systems. Migration, growth, decay, and regeneration unfold in slow, purposeful sequences. Even in apparent chaos, a deeper order prevails, maintaining equilibrium across continents, oceans, and skies. Each gust of wind, each drop of rain, each flicker of bioluminescence, each slow glacier movement contributes to the patient, enduring narrative of Earth, a narrative that invites calm, reflection, and restful immersion. In the richest ecosystems of the Earth, life unfolds in layers so intricate that every movement, every interaction contributes to a delicate, enduring balance. Tropical forests, with their dense canopies and humid air, pulse with energy and quiet complexity. Sunlight filters through leaves in fragmented patterns, illuminating mosses, vines, and epiphytes that cling with patient persistence. Every plant, from the tallest emergent tree to the smallest ground cover, participates in the subtle cycles of water, nutrients, and sunlight, converting energy into life in a quiet, unhurried rhythm. Within these forests, animals move with the same deliberate grace. Birds navigate the complex labyrinth of branches, their wings brushing softly against leaves as they seek food and shelter. Monkeys leap with fluid precision, tracing arcs that follow invisible paths through the canopy. Insects, often unseen, pollinate flowers, decompose fallen leaves, and maintain the soil's fertility, their tiny motions contributing to the forest's continuous vitality. Predators and prey engage in subtle interactions, each aware of the other's rhythm, conserving energy and moving only when necessary. Life here is a careful choreography, a continuous, gentle pulse that sustains diversity and abundance. Beneath the surface, the soil teems with unseen energy. Microorganisms break down organic matter, recycling nutrients that will nourish the next generation of plants. Fungi form symbiotic connections with roots, exchanging water and minerals for sugars produced by leaves. Earthworms and other small creatures aerate the soil, maintaining its structure and fertility. Each motion, though imperceptible to casual observation, is a thread in the complex web of life, a quiet force sustaining the forest's slow, enduring rhythm. Tundras, by contrast, appear sparse, but are no less alive. In the Arctic and Alpine regions, life endures under harsh conditions, adapting with remarkable patience. Plants grow close to the ground, conserving warmth and storing energy for short growing seasons. Migratory birds arrive briefly in spring and summer, feeding and nesting with precise timing before returning to distant lands. Small mammals, insects, and even microorganisms have evolved strategies to survive extreme cold, limited resources, and fierce winds. Every action, every movement follows the slow, deliberate cadence dictated by the planet's cycles of light, temperature, and energy. Cyclic processes govern life in all ecosystems. Photosynthesis captures sunlight, converting it into energy stored in leaves, stems, and roots. Herbivores consume plants, predators consume herbivores, and decomposers return nutrients to the soil, completing an endless loop. Water cycles through precipitation, infiltration, and evaporation, connecting mountains, rivers, forests, and oceans. Carbon, nitrogen, and other elements flow through organisms and the environment in patterns that balance energy, sustain life, and regulate climate. These biogeochemical cycles are subtle yet unceasing, invisible threads linking every creature and landscape into a continuous, harmonious rhythm. Rivers carve valleys over millennia, shaping ecosystems along their banks. Wetlands and estuaries flourish in gentle, patient motion, hosting countless species of fish, birds, amphibians, and plants. Tides, guided by the moon, pulse in predictable arcs, nurturing mangroves, salt marshes, and intertidal zones. Ocean currents carry nutrients across vast distances, sustaining life in regions far removed from sunlight. Even the deepest trenches, where light never penetrates, host organisms adapted to extreme pressure, extracting energy from chemical reactions, participating in cycles that continue quietly, undisturbed, and persistent. Predation and cooperation maintain balance across landscapes. Wolves move in packs with coordinated precision, guiding the population of prey species. Herbivores graze selectively, shaping vegetation in ways that encourage diversity. Pollinators traverse flowers with careful patterns, ensuring reproduction and the spread of genetic material. Fungi, bacteria, and small invertebrates recycle organic matter, feeding the soil and enabling new growth. Every relationship is part of a continuum, a slow, measured exchange of energy that maintains harmony across ecosystems. Even seemingly static features participate in this rhythm. Mountains influence rainfall and temperature, guiding rivers and shaping habitats. Glaciers grind rock into sediment that nourishes distant valleys. Soil forms over millennia, storing water and nutrients, sustaining plants and animals alike. Rocks weather under sun, wind, and rain, releasing minerals gradually. The interplay between living organisms and non-living elements demonstrates a profound patience, a subtle orchestration that ensures continuity and resilience across the planet. Forests, tundras, grasslands, deserts, and wetlands are all connected in this vast web. Migratory species link ecosystems across continents, carrying energy and nutrients with their journeys. Water connects mountains to oceans, glaciers to rivers, and rainforests to wetlands. Atmospheric currents carry heat and moisture, linking tropical forests to polar regions. Even the smallest particles, dust, pollen, or microorganisms, participate in the planet's ongoing symphony, moving with invisible currents and rhythms, sustaining life on every scale. Life thrives not in isolation, but in interdependence. Symbiosis, competition, and adaptation create a dynamic balance that has persisted for billions of years. Each organism, from the tiniest bacterium to the largest mammal, responds to subtle cues from its environment. Seasons dictate growth, reproduction, and rest. Tides and currents influence migration and feeding patterns. Geophysical processes shape habitats and create opportunities for adaptation. Every motion contributes to the continuous, patient rhythm of Earth, a slow and soothing pulse that has endured through time. Nightfall brings another layer of quiet interaction. Nocturnal creatures emerge to feed, pollinate, or hunt, moving with patience and careful precision. Owls glide silently over forests, bats skim rivers and wetlands, and marine organisms use bioluminescence to communicate and navigate. Even microorganisms continue their work beneath leaf litter, in soil, and within water, sustaining cycles invisible to the eye, yet essential to life. Darkness, rather than halting activity, reveals a subtle dimension of the planet's continuous motion. The Earth, in all its ecosystems and cycles, moves with a rhythm both vast and intimate. Life flows through energy, water, and nutrients, tracing arcs and patterns that extend from mountaintops to ocean trenches. Predators, prey, plants, microbes, and physical elements all participate in delicate exchanges, ensuring survival, adaptation, and continuity. Observing these patterns, even in imagination, fosters calm, a recognition of order, patience, and balance. The planet's movements are hypnotic in their persistence, a continuous lullaby for the mind and spirit. From forests to tundras, rivers to oceans, deserts to mountains, the flow of energy sustains life in ways both visible and invisible. Sunlight drives photosynthesis, water nourishes soil and plants, nutrients cycle through organisms, and geological processes create the stage upon which life unfolds. Each ecosystem, each organism, each particle participates in a vast, interconnected system, moving with quiet deliberation and enduring patience. The Earth whispers its continuous story in motion, a soft, unbroken rhythm that invites relaxation, reflection, and the deep awareness of belonging to a living, breathing world. Beneath the sunlit surface of the oceans lies a world both mysterious and mesmerizing, a realm where light diminishes gradually until darkness becomes absolute, and life adapts in ways both subtle and extraordinary. Coral reefs, often described as underwater cities, teem with vibrant activity. Tiny polyps build their calcium homes slowly, layer by layer, creating complex structures that shelter countless species. Fish glide gracefully through these coral corridors, their scales catching the refracted sunlight in flickers of gold, silver, and sapphire. Every movement is measured, every feeding, every darting motion, part of a delicate rhythm that sustains the reef's equilibrium. Among these intricate structures, symbiotic relationships flourish quietly. Cleaner fish move with meticulous care, removing parasites from larger species. Crustaceans burrow and forage, aerating sand and maintaining sediment health. Algae and corals share light and nutrients, exchanging energy in silent, unbroken cycles. Predation occurs in careful balance, ensuring that populations remain sustainable, that diversity persists, and that energy continues to flow in a continuous, patient current. The reef is not merely a habitat, it is a living tapestry of motion, color, and connectivity, orchestrated with unhurried precision over millennia. Deeper sunlight fades, and the ocean becomes a shadowed world of slow, deliberate motion. Species adapt to scarcity and pressure, moving with minimal energy expenditure. Bioluminescent creatures illuminate the darkness, their gentle, flickering lights a hypnotic dance that guides, attracts, and communicates. Predators glide silently, hunting with patience, while prey species move in subtle, coordinated arcs to avoid detection. Currents carry plankton, nutrients, and larvae across vast distances, connecting ecosystems hundreds or even thousands of miles apart. The ocean, in its silent depth, is a testament to endurance, adaptability, and the continuous flow of energy through life. The deep sea floor is a realm of extreme patience. Hydrothermal vents release mineral-rich water, sustaining unique communities of life independent of sunlight. Tube worms, clams, and microbial mats thrive here, capturing chemical energy from the earth itself. Each organism contributes to a balanced ecosystem, exchanging energy in a silent, steady rhythm that has persisted for eons. Even in this remote, inhospitable world, life demonstrates resilience, efficiency, and interconnectedness, a quiet reflection of the planet's enduring pulse. Currents, both surface and deep, move with unhurried yet inexorable force, redistributing heat, nutrients, and organisms across the globe. Warm equatorial waters drift toward the poles, while cooler waters return beneath the surface, carrying oxygen, carbon, and life. Phytoplankton, the microscopic architects of the ocean's energy, perform photosynthesis near the surface, feeding not only marine life, but also regulating the planet's atmosphere. Each cycle, from sunlight to plankton to predator to sediment, is continuous and measured, a slow rhythm that sustains life on unimaginable scales. Migration in the oceans mirrors terrestrial patterns in its precision and patient flow. Sea turtles navigate thousands of miles between nesting beaches and feeding grounds, guided by magnetic fields and subtle chemical cues. Whales follow similar paths, feeding in nutrient-rich waters before traveling vast distances to breed. Schools of fish move in synchronized arcs, shifting with the currents and predators, their motion a living, undulating pattern that reflects the larger energy flows of the oceans themselves. These migrations, though massive in scale, proceed with deliberate, unhurried grace. Even the smallest organisms play indispensable roles. Zooplankton drift with currents, feeding on phytoplankton and in turn sustaining small fish. Microbes break down detritus, recycling nutrients back into the system. Each action, though microscopic, participates in the broader rhythm, linking surface ecosystems with deep-sea communities, connecting the littoral zones with abyssal plains. Energy in these interactions flows continuously, unceasingly, like a silent, hypnotic heartbeat that underpins life across the marine world. Ocean waves, lapping softly against shores, carry subtle energy from wind to water to sand, shaping coastlines over centuries. Tides rise and fall with lunar precision, nurturing estuaries, mangroves, and wetlands. These transitional zones, where fresh and salt water meet, are among the most productive habitats on Earth. Birds forage patiently, fish dart through mangrove roots, and crustaceans burrow quietly in the sediment. Every movement reflects balance, adaptation, and the patient transfer of energy through interconnected systems. Even in areas far from sunlight, life moves in slow, deliberate arcs. Deep trenches host species adapted to extreme pressure and darkness, some producing their own light, others relying on chemical energy. Predators stalk with economy, prey conserve motion, and microorganisms sustain biochemical cycles that feed entire ecosystems. These hidden worlds exemplify patience, resilience, and the subtle orchestration of energy and life, a reminder that even in the absence of light, the Earth's rhythms continue, unbroken and unhurried. Reefs, pelagic zones, abyssal plains, and coastal shelves all participate in this continuous pulse, connected through currents, migration, and chemical cycles. Energy moves from sunlight to surface life, from prey to predator, from decaying matter to nutrient-rich sediment. Even when invisible, the flow persists, a hypnotic rhythm sustaining life across oceans, linking them to rivers, wetlands, and terrestrial ecosystems. Observing or imagining this network evokes calm, a recognition of patience, persistence, and balance on a scale both immense and intimate. The ocean is a living metaphor for the Earth's enduring cycles. Currents circulate warmth and nutrients, waves lap endlessly, tides rise and fall, and life responds in measured arcs. Coral, fish, plankton, whales, and deep-sea vent communities all contribute to the continuous flow of energy and information. The interactions are subtle yet profound, slow yet powerful, delicate yet resilient. In their continuity lies a sense of calm, a rhythm that mirrors the broader planetary processes and invites reflection, relaxation, and deep immersion in the beauty of the living world. Even as storms stir surface waters, sending waves across thousands of miles, the underlying cycles persist. Currents adapt, species respond, and nutrients circulate. Hurricanes and typhoons, while dramatic, are integrated into the ocean's energy system, redistributing heat, stirring nutrients, and sustaining long-term ecological balance. The ocean's vast, patient systems absorb, adjust, and continue, illustrating the quiet persistence of Earth's rhythms, an enduring lullaby in constant motion. From coral reefs to deep trenches, from tidal pools to the open ocean, life moves in arcs, pulses, and cycles that are continuous, interconnected, and patient. Energy flows through light, water, and chemical reactions, sustaining organisms of every size. Migration, predation, reproduction, and decay all participate in an elegant, unhurried choreography. The oceans, like the land and atmosphere, exemplify the Earth's persistent hypnotic rhythms, a living, breathing system that offers endless wonder and calm, inviting all who observe it to slow their own pace and synchronize with the quiet, enduring heartbeat of the planet. The Earth's climate is a grand, patient symphony, orchestrated over vast scales of time and space. Air flows in currents, shaped by temperature, pressure, and the gentle tilt of the planet, moving warm equatorial winds toward the poles and returning cooler currents in measured arcs. Clouds form with deliberate subtlety, gathering moisture from oceans and land, drifting in slow, graceful motions that distribute rainfall and shade across continents. Each movement of air, each shift in temperature, contributes to the silent, continuous choreography that sustains life and shapes ecosystems. Rain falls with a soft, calming cadence, nourishing soil, filling rivers, and replenishing aquifers. Gentle showers moisten leaves, drench flowers, and seep into the roots of ancient trees. Torrential storms, though dramatic in effect, follow patterns dictated by pressure systems, temperature gradients, and seasonal cycles. Lightning illuminates clouds in fleeting arcs, thunder resonating across valleys and plains, while wind carries the energy of the storm in arcs that are precise yet subtle. Even in extremes, the climate's rhythm is continuous, a balance of forces working in concert across land and sea. Oceans moderate these cycles, storing heat and distributing energy through currents. Warm water drifts poleward, while cooler water returns beneath the surface, carrying nutrients, oxygen, and chemical energy. Upwellings bring life from the depths to the surface, sustaining plankton blooms that feed fish, whales, and seabirds. The ocean absorbs heat from sunlight and releases it slowly, tempering the climate on continents, shaping winds, precipitation, and seasonal patterns. Even in calm conditions, the silent movement of water maintains a steady pulse, linking marine and terrestrial ecosystems in quiet, enduring conversation. Seasonal changes shift landscapes with deliberate precision. Spring awakens life across forests and fields, warming soils, encouraging seeds to sprout, and inviting animals to emerge from hibernation. Summer ripples with activity. Plants flourish, rivers swell, and creatures traverse their habitats in steady arcs of foraging, feeding, and reproduction. Autumn whispers in shades of gold, amber, and crimson, signaling preparation for rest and preservation of energy. Winter softens the world into muted quiet, snow and ice insulating soil, slowing streams, and allowing life to conserve strength. These cycles, though measured in months, echo the longer rhythms of the planet's climate and energy systems, a continuous, soothing pulse. Mountains influence climate with patient gravity. They guide clouds, direct rainfall, and create microclimates that nurture specialized ecosystems. Valleys warm with sunlight, while peaks remain cool, snow-laden, and reflective. Rivers born in glaciers meander gently to plains below, carrying nutrients, sediment, and energy to sustain life. Even the smallest streams are part of this interconnected system, joining in a grand, unhurried flow that links highlands to lowlands, glaciers to oceans, and weather patterns to ecological abundance. Wind shapes deserts, prairies, and coasts with delicate persistence. Sand ripples across dunes, leaves sway in the forest canopy, and waves respond in gentle arcs to surface pressure. Airborne seeds travel to distant soils, spreading life in subtle arcs. Birds ride currents effortlessly, conserving energy, guided by thermal columns, while insects and pollen move imperceptibly, completing silent, patient cycles of reproduction and dispersal. Each movement is a note in the climate's ongoing symphony, a quiet reminder of the planet's interconnectedness. The hydrological cycle exemplifies this calm continuity. Water evaporates from oceans, lakes, and rivers, rises into the atmosphere, forms clouds, and returns in gentle arcs of precipitation. Some water infiltrates deep soil, nourishing roots and sustaining forests and grasslands. Some flows swiftly to rivers, joining oceans in patient, unbroken motion. Snow accumulates on mountaintops, glaciers store and release water gradually, and wetlands absorb and release energy, filtering nutrients and sustaining diverse life. The planet's water is always moving, always cycling, a gentle heartbeat that links every ecosystem. Storms, hurricanes, and monsoons, though powerful, are part of the Earth's rhythmic energy balance. They redistribute heat and moisture, create waves, replenish soils, and influence migrations. Birds and insects respond with subtle timing. Animals adapt, and vegetation benefits from the cycles of abundance and scarcity. Even volcanic eruptions and shifting tectonic plates, dramatic as they may seem, feed nutrients into oceans, shape landscapes, and influence climate patterns over centuries. Each phenomenon, extreme or gentle, participates in the patient orchestration of the planet. Ecosystems, whether terrestrial or marine, reflect these rhythms. Forests, deserts, tundras, and grasslands respond to climate with subtle, deliberate adjustments. Trees, flower and fruit in tune with temperature and light, insects emerge and vanish according to moisture, animals adjust their behavior, migration and activity to align with energy availability. In oceans, plankton blooms follow light and nutrient cycles, fish move in patterns dictated by currents, and whales migrate across thousands of miles in time with temperature and feeding cues. The Earth's systems are intricately linked, flowing in arcs of energy, adaptation, and continuity. Even human observation becomes part of this interconnected rhythm. Gentle stewardship, conservation, and awareness allow for coexistence with natural cycles. Agricultural practices, forest preservation, and water management can align with the planet's unhurried pulse. By observing and understanding the flow of energy, precipitation, and seasonal change, humans can participate harmoniously in Earth's quiet symphony, contributing to the stability and resilience of ecosystems across the globe. The Earth, in its climate systems and ecosystems, demonstrates remarkable patience. Winds, currents, tides, rainfall, and solar energy interact with forests, oceans, rivers, deserts, and polar regions in a continuous cycle. Energy flows, life responds, and the planet adapts, maintaining balance with unbroken precision. These rhythms, though often imperceptible on short timescales, reveal a hypnotic continuity, a calming cadence that fosters awareness, reflection, and a profound sense of connection to the natural world. Even in extremes, the heat of a desert afternoon, the chill of polar winters, the fury of a hurricane, the underlying pulse of the planet continues. Life adjusts, energy redistributes, and ecosystems remain in dynamic equilibrium. The interplay of air, water, land, and life forms an unending story, patient and resilient, a living lullaby that spans continents, oceans, and atmospheres. Observing or imagining these rhythms, one can sense the quiet persistence of Earth, its patient orchestration of cycles, and the calming, enduring energy that sustains every living being. Across continents and oceans, life moves with remarkable patience, tracing arcs dictated by seasonal rhythms, climate patterns, and the subtle cues of the planet. Migratory birds soar across vast distances, following invisible maps encoded in instinct, guided by magnetic fields, stars, and the gentle currents of air. Each journey is deliberate, conserving energy while responding to the availability of food, water, and shelter. The wings of a single bird may trace thousands of miles, yet it is always part of a collective pulse, a slow, interconnected rhythm that sustains populations across hemispheres. In oceans, sea turtles navigate with similar precision, rising to the surface for air and diving to depths with measured grace. They follow warm currents, seeking feeding grounds and nesting beaches, guided by subtle cues in temperature, chemical gradients, and the pull of Earth's magnetic field. Whales, too, traverse vast stretches of ocean, feeding where plankton blooms are abundant, singing songs that ripple through the water, communicating across miles with haunting melodic calls. Even fish form synchronized schools, moving in fluid arcs, balancing predator and prey interactions in patterns of energy transfer that are both subtle and profound. Forests respond to these movements with patient adjustments. Trees flower, fruit, and shed leaves according to the sun's angle, temperature, and moisture. Insects emerge in cycles that feed birds, mammals, and amphibians. Small mammals and reptiles forage, hunt, and reproduce in sync with seasonal abundance, conserving energy when resources are scarce. Each action is connected, every organism participating in the slow, deliberate balance that maintains diversity and vitality within the ecosystem. Even fungi and microbes contribute, decomposing matter, recycling nutrients, and connecting plant roots in hidden networks that sustain life over centuries. Deserts, though seemingly sparse, participate in the global rhythm. Life adapts to extremes with ingenuity and patience. Nocturnal animals emerge under the cool moonlight, moving in careful arcs to conserve energy and water. Rare rains trigger bursts of flowering ephemeral beauty and renewed activity as seeds germinate, insects hatch, and herbivores forage. Wind shapes dunes with gentle, persistent arcs, redistributing sand and nutrients. Even the smallest adaptations, behavioral, physiological, or reproductive, reflect the planet's quiet, enduring pulse, demonstrating resilience in a challenging environment. In the polar regions, migration and adaptation are equally precise. Arctic terns travel thousands of miles between poles, following the sun and feeding on abundant seasonal resources. Seals and penguins adjust breeding, foraging, and resting patterns according to ice conditions and daylight cycles. Microorganisms metabolize slowly under ice and snow, sustaining life in extreme temperatures. The expansion and contraction of sea ice orchestrate these patterns, regulating habitat availability, nutrient flows, and energy transfer. Each movement, though subtle, contributes to the patient rhythm of Earth's most extreme ecosystems. Water connects these movements across ecosystems. Rivers carry nutrients and energy from mountains to oceans. Wetlands filter and release resources, and tides distribute energy between land and sea. Snowmelt feeds rivers that sustain forests and grasslands, while glaciers release water gradually, shaping valleys and supporting life in downstream habitats. Even the smallest droplets, evaporating from soil or ocean surfaces, rise to form clouds that drift across continents, delivering gentle rains to forests, deserts, and wetlands alike. Water's continuous cycle is a quiet heartbeat, linking migrations, growth, and life across the planet. Climate acts as a subtle conductor, orchestrating migration, growth, and behavior. Winds guide birds and insects. Temperature gradients influence ocean currents, and seasonal shifts dictate breeding and feeding. Storms, though dramatic, are integrated into this system, redistributing nutrients, stirring oceans, and replenishing ecosystems. Hurricanes and monsoons, in their patient arcs, support long-term ecological balance, shaping coastlines, influencing river flow, and creating habitats for countless species. Even geophysical processes, volcanoes, earthquakes, glacial shifts, contribute to cycles of renewal and adaptation, reminding observers of the patient, persistent flow of energy on Earth. Ecosystems interconnect across continents and oceans. Migratory species act as carriers of nutrients, pollen, and genetic material, linking forests, grasslands, deserts, and oceans in invisible networks. Predators and prey move in synchrony with resource availability, maintaining population balance. Pollinators bridge landscapes, while decomposers recycle energy and nutrients, completing cycles that sustain life on multiple scales. Each interaction, whether massive or microscopic, is part of the unbroken rhythm that defines Earth's living systems. Even human influence, when gentle and mindful, can align with these rhythms. Conservation, habitat restoration, and sustainable practices allow coexistence with migratory paths, seasonal cycles, and ecosystem dynamics. By observing the flows of energy, water, and life, humans can participate in the planet's enduring pulse, preserving continuity and fostering balance. Gardens, protected wetlands, and carefully managed forests offer examples of such alignment, demonstrating that human presence need not disrupt but can harmonize with the natural cadence. At night, Earth's pulse continues, revealing subtle layers of activity. Nocturnal animals emerge to hunt, forage, or pollinate, moving in arcs of careful, deliberate energy. Oceans remain alive with bioluminescent flickers. Currents carry nutrients and plankton, and nocturnal insects and mammals maintain the cycles of predation and reproduction. Even under darkness, ecosystems remain connected, each organism participating in a patient, continuous rhythm that has persisted for eons. Across the globe, life demonstrates remarkable adaptation and synchronization. Seasonal changes guide breeding, migration, and feeding, Climate and weather influence behavior and habitat, and energy circulates through food webs and nutrient cycles in unbroken continuity. Each organism, from microscopic plankton to soaring birds and massive whales, contributes to the planet's enduring flow. Observing or imagining these patterns evokes calm, a recognition of order, patience, and interconnectedness that underlies the complex beauty of Earth. In deserts, tundras, forests, and oceans alike, the planet moves in quiet, persistent arcs. Water cycles through soil, rivers, and oceans, distributing energy and nutrients. Air flows with subtle precision, shaping weather and climate patterns. Organisms respond with calculated energy expenditure, moving, reproducing, and resting in harmony with their environment. Even extreme events, storms, droughts, or cold snaps, are integrated into the planet's continuous rhythm, absorbed, adapted to, and balanced over time. Through these interconnected systems, the Earth sustains life with hypnotic patience. Migration, growth, reproduction, and decay unfold in slow, deliberate sequences. Energy flows from sunlight to plant, plant to herbivore, herbivore to predator, and decomposer to soil, completing cycles that link ecosystems and species across space and time. Observing or imagining this flow brings a sense of calm, reflection, and deep connection to the planet's enduring rhythms, a continuous lullaby written in the movements of wind, water, and life. Across the Earth, life persists in patient cycles, woven through the gentle interplay of climate, soil, and water. Forests breathe with measured rhythm, exchanging gases with the atmosphere as leaves capture sunlight to transform into energy. Roots draw water from soil, reaching slowly into hidden reservoirs, while microbes and fungi exchange nutrients in silent collaboration beneath the surface. Fallen leaves and decomposing wood return to the earth, feeding the next generation of life in a continuous, quiet loop. Every element, from the tiniest microorganism to the tallest tree, participates in a symphony of growth, decay, and renewal. Soils, often overlooked, are living systems in their own right. Minerals, organic matter, and water interlace to sustain plants, anchor ecosystems, and regulate energy flow. Rainfall seeps gently into the ground, carrying nutrients to roots and microorganisms. Earthworms burrow with quiet diligence, aerating soil and facilitating nutrient movement. Microbes break down matter with patient efficiency, recycling energy in ways invisible to the eye but essential to every living creature above. The soil, humble yet profound, forms the foundation upon which forests, grasslands, and deserts endure, mediating life in cycles both subtle and enduring. Water, flowing through rivers, lakes, wetlands, and oceans, orchestrates life across landscapes. Snowmelt trickles into streams, merging with rain-fed rivers to nourish forests and plains. Wetlands act as buffers, storing and slowly releasing water while filtering nutrients and sediments. In deserts, scarce rains trigger bursts of growth and ephemeral blooms, reminding all who witness them of the planet's quiet patience. Even the ocean, vast and deep, circulates water with slow precision, distributing heat, nutrients, and energy in currents that link polar regions to tropical waters, surface layers to hidden depths. Ecosystems respond with subtle timing to these elements. Trees leaf out in spring, flowers bloom in synchrony with pollinators, and animals time reproduction to align with the availability of food and shelter. Herbivores graze in measured arcs, predators hunt with patience, and decomposers quietly return energy to the soil. In deserts, nocturnal creatures emerge under the cool veil of night, moving carefully to conserve water and energy. In tundras, life waits beneath snow and ice, awakening briefly to feed, reproduce, and sustain continuity during fleeting summers. Each organism, each action contributes to a slow, unbroken pulse that maintains the harmony of the biome. Even extreme phenomena, volcanic eruptions, floods, wildfires, and storms follow patterns that sustain long-term balance. Lava flows create new land, mineral-rich sediments replenish soils, and fire clears underbrush, stimulating new growth. Floods carry nutrients downstream, nourishing wetlands and estuaries, while storms redistribute energy and moisture across landscapes. In these forces, seemingly destructive, the Earth demonstrates a patient orchestration, chaos integrated into cycles that ultimately sustain life, reminding observers that even turbulence contributes to the continuous rhythm of existence. Life, in turn, adapts and responds. Animals migrate with precise timing, aligning movement with seasonal abundance. Birds follow predictable paths across continents. Fish track nutrient-rich currents, and mammals adjust activity in response to temperature and rainfall. Plants synchronize flowering and seed dispersal with pollinators, wind, or rain, ensuring survival and diversity. Microorganisms metabolize with astonishing efficiency, facilitating nutrient cycling and decomposition. In this interplay, every organism participates in a slow, deliberate choreography that spans continents, oceans, and generations. In forests, energy flows from sun to leaf, leaf to herbivore, herbivore to predator, and predator to decomposer. Nutrients cycle through soil, fungi, and microbial communities, creating a self-sustaining system that has persisted for millennia. In grasslands, sunlight fuels growth. Grazing animals distribute seeds, and predators maintain balance. In deserts, energy is conserved with meticulous care, adapted to scarcity. Even the Arctic tundra demonstrates remarkable efficiency. Short summers maximize growth and reproduction, while long winters preserve energy, ensuring continuity in extreme conditions. Water connects all ecosystems in an unbroken rhythm. Rain nourishes forests, rivers carry energy to plains and oceans. Glaciers release water gradually, and tides circulate nutrients across intertidal zones. Aquifers and wetlands store and release water patiently, regulating flow and supporting biodiversity. Even the evaporation of a single droplet contributes to a planetary rhythm, rising into the atmosphere to drift across continents and return in rain or snow. Water, subtle yet persistent, serves as both medium and messenger, linking climate, soil, and life in a continuous, soothing cadence. Climate exerts its quiet influence on every cycle. Winds distribute heat, moisture, and seeds. Temperature gradients dictate flowering, hibernation, and migration. Seasonal shifts orchestrate breeding, foraging, and rest. Even atmospheric pressure, clouds, and solar energy shape ecosystems in ways imperceptible yet profound. Every phenomenon, whether a gentle breeze or a raging storm, contributes to the patient, interconnected rhythm that sustains Earth's living systems. The interconnection between biomes is equally hypnotic. Migratory species carry nutrients, pollen, and genetic material across continents. Rivers link mountains to oceans. Oceans, in turn, influence wind, precipitation, and terrestrial climates. Deserts, forests, grasslands, and tundras, while distinct, interact through water, energy, and life. Even microscopic organisms traverse these boundaries, carried by wind, water, or other animals, ensuring continuity and resilience across ecosystems. Each component, from vast glaciers to a single blade of grass, participates in a patient, enduring symphony. Night brings an additional layer of calm continuity. Nocturnal animals emerge in measured arcs, moving with patience and subtlety. Oceans glow with bioluminescence, tides rise and fall with quiet precision, and the faint movements of microorganisms continue beneath soil, leaf litter, and sediment. Darkness does not halt life. It reveals a different rhythm, slow and deliberate, reinforcing the planet's unbroken pulse. Observing or imagining these nocturnal cycles evokes a sense of calm, a recognition of Earth's persistent and gentle orchestration. From the smallest microorganism to the largest glacier, from ephemeral blooms to enduring forests, Earth's cycles demonstrate remarkable resilience, patience, and interconnectedness. Energy flows continuously through sunlight, water, and nutrients, sustaining life across time and space. Migration, growth, reproduction, and decay unfold in measured sequences, maintaining harmony across biomes. Even extreme events are absorbed into these cycles, contributing to renewal and continuity. The earth, in its rhythms, is a living lullaby, an unbroken pulse that soothes, calms, and invites reflection. Every element, from soil to sky, participates in this quiet symphony. Life adapts, persists, and thrives in synchrony with water, wind, and sunlight. Ecosystems balance, recover, and sustain themselves through patient, interconnected rhythms. Observing or imagining these processes brings a sense of calm and connection, a reminder that the planet's enduring systems are resilient, deliberate, and hypnotically beautiful. In these cycles, there is both constancy and change, a living harmony that has persisted for billions of years and continues quietly, without pause. Beneath the surface of the world's oceans lies a vast, patient realm where currents move with deliberate persistence and nutrients circulate in silent, unbroken cycles. Warm waters drift toward the poles, carrying energy absorbed from sunlight, while colder currents return beneath the surface, dense and slow, carrying oxygen and mineral-rich water to distant depths. These movements, imperceptible to casual observation, govern climate, redistribute heat, and sustain life across oceans, linking tropical coral reefs to polar seas in a seamless rhythm of energy and motion. Phytoplankton, microscopic yet monumental in effect, perform the quiet alchemy of photosynthesis near the sunlit surface. They convert sunlight into chemical energy, releasing oxygen and feeding zooplankton, which in turn nourish fish, whales, and seabirds. Each bloom follows cycles dictated by sunlight, nutrient availability, and temperature, creating arcs of life that ripple through the ocean in slow, measured waves. These tiny organisms are the foundation of vast food webs, and their patient, precise cycles influence both local ecosystems and the global climate, absorbing carbon and regulating the air we breathe. In deeper waters, where sunlight fades, bioluminescent creatures illuminate the darkness with gentle, hypnotic flickers. Fish, squid, and plankton produce soft glows, attracting prey, communicating or navigating their hidden world. Predators glide silently, hunting with careful, deliberate energy, while prey species respond with synchronized, subtle movements to avoid detection. Even in the extreme pressures of the abyss, life continues, adapted to darkness, scarcity, and cold, participating in cycles that flow across depths, from surface waters to the ocean floor, in patient, continuous rhythm. Hydrothermal vents, scattered across mid-ocean ridges, release mineral-rich fluids that sustain unique ecosystems independent of sunlight. Tube worms, clams, and microbial communities thrive here, capturing chemical energy in a slow, steady exchange. These vent ecosystems demonstrate life's adaptability and resilience, reminding observers that energy can flow in multiple forms and that life cycles are versatile, subtle, and persistent. Even the most isolated corners of the deep ocean participate in the planet's broader rhythm, linked to currents, surface productivity, and long-term climatic patterns. Currents, both surface and deep, act as arteries of the planet, moving heat, nutrients, and organisms across vast distances. Upwellings bring nutrient-rich waters from the depths to the surface, fueling plankton blooms and sustaining fish populations. These currents stabilize climate by transferring energy from equatorial regions to poles, influencing wind patterns, rainfall, and even the distribution of deserts and forests on land. In this intricate system, energy circulates in arcs and loops, a subtle yet powerful pulse connecting life across the globe. Reefs, estuaries, and coastal shelves respond to these oceanic rhythms with gentle precision. Coral reefs flourish where sunlight penetrates. Waves and currents deliver nutrients, and fish populations maintain balance in a patient, ongoing exchange. Estuaries, where fresh and salt water meet, filter sediments, host migratory species, and provide shelter for juvenile marine life. Mangroves stabilize coastlines, protect against erosion, and offer complex habitats for countless species. Each zone participates in the ocean's patient orchestration, contributing to the slow, unbroken flow of energy, nutrients, and life. Life in the open ocean, the pelagic zone, moves with elegance and deliberation. Schools of fish form fluid, synchronized shapes, balancing predation with survival. Sea turtles traverse thousands of miles, guided by magnetic fields and temperature cues. Whales migrate across oceans, feeding in nutrient-rich waters before breeding in warmer regions. Even the smallest plankton drift with the currents, transported across oceans in arcs that link ecosystems' continents apart. Every motion, from the grand to the minuscule, sustains the patient pulse of the oceans and the climate it influences. Nutrients cycle continuously through the oceans, linking life above and below, surface and deep. Organic matter sinks from the surface, feeding deep-sea communities. Microorganisms decompose and recycle this material, returning nutrients to support new growth. The cycle is slow yet unbroken, a constant exchange that sustains productivity and diversity. Even in areas far from sunlight, the ocean functions as a living, breathing system, balancing energy and life in a hypnotic, persistent rhythm. Climate and oceanic interactions are inseparable. Currents influence wind patterns, redistribute heat, and regulate precipitation. El Niño and La Niña events illustrate the subtle yet profound effects of oceanic temperature shifts, altering rainfall, storm frequency, and ecosystem dynamics across continents. Monsoons, hurricanes, and cyclones are part of this larger orchestration, redistributing energy and nutrients, shaping coastlines, and sustaining ecosystems in a long-term, patient balance. The ocean's influence reaches far inland, guiding life on land with unhurried precision. Even in the smallest details, the ocean demonstrates continuity. Tiny larvae drift with currents, establishing new populations far from their origins. Seagrasses and kelp forests move subtly with tides, providing shelter and food for countless species. Plankton cycles, wave energy, and nutrient flows interact in patterns so vast and delicate that their persistence over millennia is a testament to Earth's patient orchestration. The oceans are both a cradle and conduit of life, a living system of hypnotic motion that links energy, climate, and ecosystems seamlessly. From coral reefs to abyssal plains, from polar seas to tropical waters, the ocean maintains continuity through cycles of energy, migration, and nutrient exchange. Life adapts to currents, temperature, and light availability, moving with patience and precision. Predation and reproduction follow subtle arcs. Even extreme events, storms, upwellings, or volcanic activity feed into the broader rhythm, shaping habitats, redistributing nutrients, and sustaining life. In observing these patterns, one senses a continuous calming pulse, a living lullaby that connects all corners of the planet. The oceans, in their vastness and complexity, are a living testament to Earth's enduring rhythms. Currents move steadily, tides rise and fall, and energy flows through life in arcs both massive and microscopic. Marine ecosystems, from the sunlit surface to the darkest depths, participate in cycles that stabilize climate, nourish terrestrial and aquatic life, and sustain planetary balance. The silent, patient orchestration of oceans offers a sense of calm, a reminder that even in motion, life persists with deliberate grace, resilience, and hypnotic continuity. Above the oceans, the atmosphere moves with a patient, deliberate rhythm, a fluid veil connecting every part of the Earth in unbroken continuity. Winds rise from differences in temperature and pressure, shaping weather, currents, and the distribution of energy across the planet. Trade winds sweep across tropical seas, guiding the surface waters in gentle, persistent arcs. Monsoons gather slowly, transporting moisture from ocean to continent, nourishing forests, rivers, and plains with measured grace. Even the faintest breeze carries energy, pollen, or seeds, participating in cycles that span continents and oceans. The sun, warming the surface of the oceans, initiates a cascade of subtle interactions. Sunlight heats water unevenly, creating density gradients that drive surface currents. Warm waters expand and flow toward cooler regions, distributing heat and influencing the formation of clouds, storms, and pressure systems. Solar energy also sustains life directly, powering photosynthesis in phytoplankton, seagrasses, and algae, forming the foundation of marine food webs. Through this quiet exchange, sunlight shapes climate, ecosystems, and the movement of energy on both global and local scales. Clouds drift above, sculpted by wind and shaped by moisture. They form slowly, releasing gentle rains or sudden downpours, their arcs tracing invisible paths across oceans and continents. Clouds influence sunlight, shade, and temperature, moderating ecosystems beneath them. Over deserts, they provide rare relief, nurturing blooms of ephemeral life. Over forests, they shelter leaves from excess sun, preserve moisture, and guide rivers with rainfall that sustains life in intricate patterns. Even their shadows ripple across the ocean, cooling the surface, altering currents, and subtly influencing the dance of marine life below. Atmospheric currents and ocean currents engage in a constant dialogue. Warm waters transported by currents heat the overlying air, producing winds and storms that redistribute moisture and energy. Cold currents cool the atmosphere, shaping deserts, temperate regions, and polar zones. Upwellings deliver nutrients to surface waters, feeding blooms of phytoplankton that absorb carbon and release oxygen, linking biological productivity to climate regulation. This interplay between ocean and atmosphere creates cycles that balance heat, energy, and life across the planet. A hypnotic pulse, both vast and delicate. Storms, though dramatic, are integrated into this rhythm. Hurricanes form where warm waters meet shifting atmospheric pressures, drawing energy from the ocean while redistributing it across vast distances. Rainfall from storms replenishes rivers, soils, and wetlands, supporting ecosystems that rely on predictable hydration. Wind carries seeds, pollen, and small organisms, linking isolated populations and maintaining genetic diversity. Lightning, though fleeting, triggers chemical reactions in the atmosphere, generating nutrients for oceans and soils. Every element, even in extremes, participates in Earth's slow, patient choreography. The energy of wind shapes marine and coastal life with remarkable subtlety. Waves driven by steady breezes carve shorelines, redistribute sand, and nurture intertidal zones. Gentle currents carry larvae and plankton to new habitats, linking distant reefs and coastal ecosystems. Predators and prey move in arcs determined by these currents, maintaining balance in both abundance and scarcity. Even the tiniest organisms drift with invisible currents, tracing the same arcs of energy and movement that influence the largest whales and migrating fish. Wind is both force and guide, shaping life above and below the surface in continuous, unbroken patterns. Seasonal shifts, governed by the tilt of the planet and the intensity of solar radiation, orchestrate life across oceans and continents. Spring and summer bring warmth and productivity. Phytoplankton blooms, forest growth, animal breeding, and migrations. Autumn signals preparation, a slowing of energy and careful conservation. Winter in polar and temperate regions brings dormancy, ice formation, and patient survival strategies. Even in equatorial regions, slight variations in sunlight and rainfall guide the rhythms of growth and reproduction. illustrating the delicate interdependence of climate, light, and life. Life responds with extraordinary adaptability. Marine species time reproduction with nutrient availability, fish follow thermal currents, and whales migrate along predictable arcs. Birds adjust migratory routes according to wind patterns and seasonal temperatures. Terrestrial plants coordinate flowering, fruiting, and seed dispersal with rainfall and sunlight, while desert organisms emerge under the cool light of night to conserve energy. Even microbial communities modulate activity according to subtle temperature and moisture cues, maintaining cycles of decomposition, nutrient release, and energy flow that sustain ecosystems across scales. The atmosphere also carries energy invisibly, shaping weather in ways both gentle and profound. Air pressure shifts guide ocean currents, influencing rainfall patterns and temperature distributions across continents. Jet streams sweep across hemispheres, connecting climates thousands of miles apart. Dust from deserts fertilizes distant soils. Pollen from one continent may drift to another, and tiny microorganisms are carried across oceans and forests, all contributing to life's continuity. Each movement is slow yet precise, a subtle orchestration of energy that sustains life in visible and invisible forms. Oceans and atmosphere together regulate the planet's climate with patient persistence. El Niño and La Niña events illustrate the delicate balance between surface temperatures, atmospheric pressure, and wind patterns, affecting rainfall, storms, and productivity across the globe. Trade winds, monsoons, and polar vortexes redistribute heat and moisture, sustaining ecosystems that depend on predictable cycles. This interplay between air and water is the silent engine behind life's continuity, a steady rhythm that has endured for millennia, calming in its predictability and profound in its reach. Even human perception, observing these processes from land or sea, becomes a part of the planet's quiet continuity. Watching clouds drift, tides rise, or waves ripple across a reef reveals the persistent patience of Earth's rhythms. Solar energy, wind, and water interact with ecosystems to create cycles of growth, decay, and renewal. Life moves with these forces, adapting, migrating, and reproducing in arcs that align with energy, moisture, and climate. Recognizing this interconnection evokes calm, reflection, and a deep sense of harmony with the living planet. From the tiniest plankton to the largest whale, from drifting clouds to relentless trade winds, from subtle surface currents to abyssal depths, the Earth maintains a continuous, patient pulse. Energy flows in arcs across oceans and through the atmosphere, influencing climate, distributing nutrients, and sustaining life. Marine ecosystems respond to sunlight, wind, and water with delicate precision, while terrestrial ecosystems adjust to rainfall, temperature, and seasonal variation. The planet's systems, in their patient orchestration, create a continuous lullaby, a rhythm both grand and intimate, persistent, unhurried, and mesmerizing. In every wave, every breeze, and every solar ray, Earth whispers continuity. Currents trace invisible paths, wind carries life, storms redistribute energy, and sunlight sustains productivity. The ocean and atmosphere, intertwined in an endless dance, regulate climate, connect ecosystems, and influence migrations across continents. Life flows in measured arcs, balancing predation, reproduction, and energy transfer. Even in apparent chaos, the system maintains harmony, persistence, and resilience. Observing or imagining this complex interaction evokes calm, wonder, and a profound sense of connection to the patient, enduring heartbeat of the planet. Across the planet, energy circulates with patient precision, moving through air, water, and living systems in arcs both immense and subtle. Solar radiation warms oceans and continents, creating gradients of temperature that drive currents, winds, and weather patterns. Warm equatorial waters drift toward the poles, transferring heat to cooler regions, while cold polar waters return beneath the surface, dense and steady, carrying nutrients, oxygen, and chemical energy to depths unseen. This unbroken circulation regulates climate, sustains ecosystems, and links distant regions in a silent, hypnotic rhythm. Winds, shaped by temperature and pressure gradients, guide clouds, dust, seeds, and tiny organisms across vast distances. Trade winds and westerlies sweep across oceans and continents, influencing rainfall, evaporation, and energy distribution. Cyclones and storms redistribute heat and moisture, shaping coastlines, enriching soils, and creating habitats for diverse species. Even the gentlest breeze participates in this patient orchestration, nudging leaves, stirring waters, and guiding the migratory paths of birds, insects, and airborne microorganisms. Each movement is part of a continuous flow, connecting air, land, and sea in subtle, unbroken arcs. Ocean currents act as arteries of the earth, circulating energy and nutrients with patient grace. Upwellings bring deep, mineral-rich waters to the surface, sustaining plankton blooms that form the foundation of marine food webs. Fish, turtles, whales, and seabirds follow these patterns with instinctive precision, their migrations synchronized with the ebb and flow of nutrients. Even the tiniest plankton are carried thousands of miles, linking ecosystems separated by oceans in a quiet, continuous pulse of life. Currents, moving slowly yet inexorably, shape climate, sustain biodiversity, and maintain equilibrium across the globe. On land, ecosystems respond to these flows with delicate synchronization. Forests, grasslands, deserts, and wetlands adjust to rainfall, temperature, and nutrient availability with remarkable precision. Trees, leaf, flower, and fruit in alignment with light and moisture. Animals migrate, forage, and breed according to resource abundance. Decomposers recycle nutrients with patient efficiency, linking death to renewal, decay to growth. Even the smallest organisms, from soil bacteria to fungi, contribute to these cycles, maintaining energy flow and ecological balance across multiple scales. Seasonal shifts create arcs of continuity, subtle yet profound. Spring awakens life in forests, rivers, and oceans. Animals emerge from dormancy, insects hatch, and plants bloom. Summer magnifies activity. Growth, reproduction, and foraging reach peaks, driven by warmth and sunlight. Autumn signals preparation, conservation of energy, and dispersal of seeds and young. Winter slows activity in polar and temperate regions, conserving resources and preserving life under snow, ice, or the cool night sky. These rhythms, measured and reliable, connect climate, ecosystems, and the movement of energy across Earth. Even extreme events are integrated into these cycles. Volcanic eruptions create new land, replenish soils with minerals, and stimulate ecological succession. Hurricanes and typhoons redistribute heat and moisture, alter currents, and deposit nutrients across coastal and inland ecosystems. Wildfires clear old growth, allowing sunlight to reach the forest floor, stimulating fresh growth and encouraging biodiversity. Floods and droughts, though disruptive in the short term, shape landscapes, influence species adaptation, and sustain long-term ecological balance. Each phenomenon, though seemingly chaotic, contributes to the patient orchestration of energy and life on Earth. Migratory species act as vital conduits for energy and nutrients. Birds carry seeds, pollen, and microorganisms across continents. Fish transport nutrients from productive coastal regions to open oceans. Whales and sea turtles link distant feeding and breeding grounds, transporting energy across thousands of miles. Even insects and microorganisms hitch rides on wind, water, or larger animals, connecting isolated habitats in ways imperceptible to human observation. These arcs of movement sustain life, maintain genetic diversity, and harmonize the global circulation of energy and resources. Rivers and lakes participate in this quiet orchestration. Snowmelt from mountains feeds streams, which join rivers and flow to oceans, carrying sediment, nutrients, and energy along gentle arcs. Wetlands filter and store water, releasing it slowly to maintain flow and ecological stability. Groundwater infiltrates soil, nourishing forests and grasslands. Even the evaporation of a single droplet contributes to the global water cycle, rising to form clouds that drift thousands of miles before returning as rain or snow. Water, subtle and continuous, links terrestrial and marine ecosystems in patient, unbroken cycles. The atmosphere and oceans engage in continuous dialogue, influencing climate, weather, and life on scales both massive and intimate. Warm water heats the air, producing winds and storms that redistribute moisture. Cold currents cool the atmosphere, shaping deserts and temperate regions. Upwellings sustain marine productivity and absorb carbon, linking biological cycles to global climate regulation. Each subtle interaction, from a whisper of wind to the drift of a current, maintains the hypnotic, persistent pulse that sustains life across the planet. Energy flow through ecosystems demonstrates remarkable efficiency and resilience. Photosynthesis captures sunlight, converting it into chemical energy stored in plants and algae. Herbivores feed on this energy, predators consume herbivores, and decomposers recycle matter back to soil and water. These cycles repeat continuously, scaled from microscopic to global, connecting plankton blooms to terrestrial forests, desert plants to migrating herbivores, and polar ice algae to whales traversing oceans. Life adapts to variations, absorbs shocks, and persists, maintaining balance through patient orchestration of energy and resources. Even in the deepest oceans, the circulation of energy continues. Hydrothermal vents release mineral-rich water, sustaining unique communities of tube worms, clams, and microbes. Organic matter sinks from the sunlit surface, feeding deep-sea life in a slow, continuous exchange. Bioluminescent creatures illuminate darkness, their flickering light guiding predators and prey, while currents distribute nutrients across vast distances. In these extreme environments, life demonstrates both resilience and interconnectedness, participating in the patient, unbroken rhythm of Earth's energy flows. From mountains to oceans, deserts to tundras, the planet's systems are linked through wind, water, and energy. Currents and breezes carry heat, moisture, and life. Rivers and streams distribute nutrients. Organisms adapt, migrate, and reproduce in alignment with these flows. Even extreme events are integrated into the global rhythm, sustaining renewal, diversity, and continuity. Observing or imagining this vast, interconnected orchestration evokes calm, a recognition of patience, persistence, and the hypnotic beauty of Earth's living systems. In every wave, every gust of wind, every shifting cloud, the Earth whispers continuity. Energy flows in arcs across oceans and through the atmosphere, linking distant ecosystems in patient, deliberate rhythms. Life responds, adapts, and persists, sustaining cycles of growth, decay, and renewal. Currents guide marine migrations, winds carry seeds and pollen, storms redistribute nutrients, and solar energy powers photosynthesis in every corner of the planet. This unbroken circulation is a living lullaby, a steady heartbeat of calm, resilience, and hypnotic persistence. Across all scales, from the smallest plankton to the tallest mountains, from drifting clouds to vast currents, Earth maintains balance with remarkable precision. Energy flows, nutrients cycle, and life adapts, responding with patience and subtlety. Ecosystems interact, species migrate, and natural phenomena, extreme or gentle, integrate into the continuous pulse of the planet. The global circulation of energy through wind, water, and sunlight sustains life with quiet grace, offering a calming rhythm that mirrors the steady, enduring heartbeat of the living world. Across the Earth, every biome is connected in a vast, patient web of energy, life, and cycles, each responding to the gentle rhythms of sunlight, wind, water, and the steady pulse of the planet. Forests exchange air and moisture with surrounding grasslands, Rivers link mountains to oceans, deserts to wetlands, and oceans in turn influence winds, rainfall, and climate patterns that shape every corner of the continents. Every movement, from the rise of a breeze to the drift of a plankton bloom, participates in this unbroken, hypnotic orchestration. Energy flows continuously through these interconnected systems. Sunlight captured by forests, grasslands, and oceans becomes chemical energy, stored in leaves, algae, and plankton. Herbivores graze and feed, predators consume, and decomposers recycle, returning energy to the soil and water. Migration carries nutrients and energy across continents and oceans, linking distant ecosystems in arcs of life that span thousands of miles. Even microscopic organisms, transported by wind, water, or animals, participate in these cycles, maintaining continuity across time and space. Forests, dense and enduring, are repositories of energy and life. Their towering trees capture sunlight, channel nutrients through roots and fungi, and provide habitat for countless species. Birds, mammals, and insects move through this canopy, feeding, pollinating, and dispersing seeds, while decomposers break down fallen leaves and dead wood, sustaining soil fertility. Forests, in turn, influence local and global climate, regulating temperature, humidity, and precipitation patterns that ripple across other biomes, from deserts to tundras, linking ecosystems in subtle arcs of influence. Grasslands, shaped by wind, fire, and grazing, maintain continuity through cycles of growth, decay, and renewal. Grasses store energy in roots, regrow after seasonal fires, and provide food for herbivores whose movements distribute nutrients across the landscape. Predators follow in synchrony, balancing populations. Seasonal rainfall guides the timing of flowering and seed dispersal, while soil microorganisms recycle nutrients in patient, continuous rhythms. The grassland, though open and seemingly simple, is an intricate self-sustaining system, intimately connected to forests, rivers, and even distant oceans through energy and nutrient cycles. Deserts, often perceived as harsh and barren, participate in these planetary rhythms with remarkable subtlety. Life adapts with patient ingenuity. Nocturnal creatures emerge under the cool light of night. Seeds germinate after rare rains, and plants conserve energy and moisture with delicate efficiency. Sand and wind shape dunes, distributing nutrients and altering habitats over time. Even ephemeral blooms contribute to the broader cycles of energy, linking desert life to migratory species and distant ecosystems through the arcs of water, wind, and energy that traverse the planet. Polar regions, extreme yet integral, demonstrate the persistence of life and energy flow in challenging environments. Sea ice expands and contracts, regulating temperature, habitat availability, and nutrient distribution. Migratory species, such as birds, seals, and whales, time their movements with precision, responding to seasonal abundance. Microscopic organisms under ice sustain the base of the food web, connecting polar waters to oceans and beyond. These regions, seemingly isolated, are deeply intertwined with global climate and energy cycles, influencing precipitation, wind, and even distant ecosystems thousands of miles away. Water, flowing through rivers, lakes, wetlands, and oceans, acts as the lifeblood of this planetary network. Snowmelt nourishes rivers that sustain forests and grasslands. Wetlands filter and store nutrients, releasing them slowly. Oceans circulate energy and sustain marine life across vast distances. Even a single droplet contributes to cycles that stretch continents apart, rising into clouds and returning as rain or snow. Water links terrestrial and marine ecosystems, climate and life, in a continuous, soothing cadence that supports every living organism. Wind, another subtle yet powerful force, guides migration, pollination, and nutrient distribution. Airborne seeds travel vast distances, microorganisms traverse continents, and migratory birds navigate with precise instinct. Wind shapes dunes, stirs ocean waves, and drives surface currents that influence climate. Each gentle movement participates in the global circulation of energy, connecting deserts to forests, oceans to mountains, and life to climate in delicate, persistent arcs. Natural phenomena, extreme yet integral, shape continuity across biomes. Hurricanes, storms, and monsoons redistribute heat and moisture, nourishing ecosystems and linking distant regions. Volcanic eruptions release nutrients, create new habitats, and influence atmospheric circulation. Wildfires clear old growth, stimulating regeneration, while floods distribute sediment and energy across landscapes. Even in extremes, the planet maintains balance, integrating turbulence into its patient rhythm, ensuring continuity and resilience across ecosystems. Migration exemplifies the intricate connectivity of life. Birds traverse continents, fish navigate oceans, and mammals move in search of food and shelter, carrying nutrients, seeds, and genetic material. These arcs of movement link isolated populations, maintain diversity, and sustain the cycles of energy and life. Even microscopic organisms travel along these paths, ensuring that ecosystems remain interconnected and resilient over time. Life, in its many forms, participates in a planetary choreography, flowing with precision, patience, and subtle grace. Energy and nutrients cycle seamlessly across biomes. Photosynthesis captures sunlight, feeding herbivores and predators. Decomposers recycle matter, enriching soils and waters. Water transports nutrients from mountains to oceans, while winds carry seeds and microorganisms across vast distances. Life responds with remarkable adaptability, conserving energy, reproducing with timing, and moving with precision. The Earth, in this interconnected web, maintains a continuous, unbroken pulse, a living, patient system that supports the persistence of life through time. Even at night, these cycles continue. Nocturnal animals emerge in measured arcs, plankton drift with ocean currents, and forests exhale energy and moisture into the atmosphere. Bioluminescent organisms illuminate the deep ocean, while soil, microbes, and decomposers sustain cycles invisible to the eye. Darkness does not pause life. It reveals a different rhythm, slow and deliberate, reinforcing the patient heartbeat of Earth's interconnected systems. From the smallest blade of grass to the tallest redwood, from drifting clouds to ocean currents, from ephemeral blooms to polar ice, all systems are interwoven. Energy flows, nutrients cycle, and life adapts, sustaining continuity through delicate hypnotic rhythms. Migration, growth, reproduction, and decay follow arcs that maintain ecological balance across continents, oceans, and climates. Even extreme events integrate into these cycles, feeding renewal and ensuring resilience. The planet's systems operate with patience, persistence, and unbroken precision, a lullaby of continuity and calm. In observing these patterns, one senses harmony in complexity. Biomes, currents, winds, and species interactions form a continuous network, each element supporting another. Life moves with arcs of energy, nutrients, and water, adapting to shifts in climate and environment. Even turbulence and extremes serve the broader rhythm, contributing to regeneration, diversity, and stability. Earth, in its patient orchestration, maintains an enduring, calming pulse that links every corner of the globe. Across all scales, from microorganisms to mountains, from deserts to oceans, the Earth whispers continuity. Currents, winds, and migration carry energy and life, linking ecosystems in subtle, unbroken arcs. Energy captured by sunlight flows through food webs, cycles through soil and water, and sustains generations of life. Natural phenomena, extreme or gentle, integrate seamlessly into these rhythms, ensuring that the planet remains resilient, balanced, and alive. In every movement, one can sense the hypnotic, patient heartbeat of Earth, a lullaby that endures across millennia, calming, continuous, and unbroken. As night gently settles over the Earth, the planet exhales a quiet, patient breath. A rhythm that has persisted for billions of years, unbroken, serene and profound. Forests, grasslands, deserts and polar expanses all participate in this lullaby of life. Leaves release their energy slowly, rivers glide with deliberate arcs, oceans ripple under the moon's soft pull, and winds carry whispers across continents. Even the smallest organisms, invisible to the eye, move with the continuity of cycles that shape every ecosystem, every habitat, and every life form. The sun, having completed its daily arc, leaves warmth in the oceans and soils, a lingering energy that feeds the slow motions of nocturnal life. Rivers continue to flow, carrying nutrients and water to forests, wetlands, and seas. Forest canopies sway with gentle breezes, exhaling moisture and energy into the atmosphere. Beneath the soil, roots and microorganisms continue their patient work, exchanging nutrients, decomposing matter, and sustaining the quiet cycles that feed life above. Every element, from smallest to grandest, contributes to the patient heartbeat of the earth. Oceans, vast and deep, hum with continuity. Currents circulate energy, nutrients, and life across immense distances. Whales glide through warm waters on migrations guided by instinct, while plankton drift with gentle currents, forming the base of countless food webs. Bioluminescent creatures illuminate darkened depths with hypnotic flickers, echoing the pulse of life across abyssal plains. Even under darkness and pressure, the ocean sustains delicate balance, ensuring that energy flows and life persists in unbroken arcs. Above, the atmosphere moves in imperceptible currents. Winds sweep across deserts, forests, and oceans, distributing moisture, seeds, and pollen. Clouds drift with unhurried grace, shaping rainfall, shade, and temperature, influencing ecosystems with patient precision. Storms and breezes alike, extremes or gentle, contribute to the global balance of energy and life. The dialogue between air and ocean, between wind and wave, is a continuous conversation, subtle and soothing, that sustains climates and life across the earth. Migration continues in quiet arcs. Birds traverse continents under the moonlight, guided by magnetic fields and stars. Marine species trace paths across oceans, following nutrient-rich waters and thermal gradients. Even insects and microorganisms drift with currents or winds, connecting ecosystems in ways invisible but vital. Life moves with patience and purpose, synchronized with energy, climate, and the cycles of the planet, a choreography that has endured for millennia. Deserts rest beneath the night sky, yet life continues its quiet dance. Nocturnal creatures emerge, moving carefully to conserve energy and moisture. Seeds awaken with rare rains, germinating in ephemeral bursts of green. Sand shifts slowly with wind, reshaping dunes, distributing nutrients, and creating habitats anew. These patient arcs, subtle and hidden, demonstrate resilience and continuity, a reminder that even in extremes, life adapts, persists, and flows with the rhythm of the earth. Polar regions breathe in time with the seasons. Ice expands and contracts, regulating temperature, habitat, and nutrient flow. Arctic and Antarctic species follow the steady pulse of seasonal abundance, migrating, breeding, and feeding with precise timing. Microscopic life beneath ice continues its patient cycles, forming the base of food webs that sustain higher predators. These extremes, distant and stark, are intimately linked with global currents, climate, and the movement of life, demonstrating Earth's patient, interconnected orchestration. Even forests, vast and complex, exhale continuity. Leaves shimmer under moonlight. Photosynthesis slows with the absence of sun, and sap moves gently through trunks. Birds roost, nocturnal mammals forage, and insects hum quietly among branches. Fallen leaves decompose slowly, enriching soil, sustaining roots, and feeding the next cycle of growth. Microbes and fungi continue their work beneath the canopy, maintaining balance and ensuring that the rhythms of life flow without interruption. Across grasslands, nocturnal grazers move in arcs of patient motion, while predators follow in synchrony. Soil life continues recycling nutrients. Fire, whether past or future, remains a subtle potential, shaping the landscape and preparing it for renewal. Every blade of grass, every microorganism participates in the unbroken rhythm of energy, adaptation, and life that sustains these open expanses. Even in calm, quiet nights, life follows arcs of motion and transformation, patient and unhurried. Rivers, lakes, and wetlands whisper in continuous flow. Snowmelt and rainfall sustain movement, carrying nutrients and energy to forests, grasslands, and oceans. Wetlands store water, filter impurities, and release it slowly, maintaining balance and continuity. Even the smallest droplets contribute to cycles that span continents, rising to clouds and returning as precipitation. Water, gentle and patient, is the lifeblood of the earth, connecting every biome and sustaining life in unbroken, soothing arcs. Energy, transported through air, water, and life, maintains the planet's hypnotic rhythm. Solar energy powers growth, feeding photosynthesis in forests, grasslands, and oceans. Herbivores, predators, and decomposers complete cycles of energy transfer, while migration carries nutrients and genetic diversity across continents and oceans. Even extreme events, like storms or volcanic activity, integrate into these cycles, redistributing energy and sustaining continuity. The Earth is alive with a steady, patient pulse, a lullaby of resilience and balance. In the quiet of night, one can sense the planet's unbroken heartbeat. Currents flow, winds drift, and life moves in arcs both subtle and grand. Migratory paths, reproductive cycles, and energy transfer continue uninterrupted. Forests breathe, oceans hum, deserts shift, and polar ice expands and contracts with the seasons. Even in darkness, life persists with patient grace, echoing the rhythm of the earth, its hypnotic continuity a lullaby that invites calm and reflection. From the smallest microorganism to the tallest mountain, from drifting clouds to vast oceans, the Earth sustains continuity with remarkable precision. Biomes interact, cycles of energy and nutrients flow, and species adapt, migrate, and reproduce in alignment with planetary rhythms. Storms, tides, winds, and solar energy integrate into a seamless, patient dance, maintaining resilience, balance, and the enduring pulse of life. Every element participates, every movement contributes, and the planet hums a quiet, soothing melody that has persisted through eons. As sleep draws near, one can imagine the Earth in its patient arcs of energy and life. Forests exhale, oceans glide, winds whisper, rivers flow, and life continues its hypnotic cycles. Extreme events, growth, decay, migration, and adaptation all harmonize into the planet's lullaby. Every breath of wind, every ripple of water, every flicker of bioluminescence joins the continuous pulse of existence. Earth, alive and enduring, offers calm, continuity, and serenity. A living lullaby that carries across continents, oceans, and skies, inviting rest, reflection, and peaceful sleep. The Earth's rhythm, unbroken and serene, hums softly beneath the night. Every biome, every current, every organism contributes to this patient hypnotic orchestration. Life flows in arcs, energy circulates through systems, and continuity is preserved across space and time. Observing or imagining this intricate, interconnected symphony evokes deep calm. In the stillness, one can sense the quiet, persistent heartbeat of the planet, a lullaby that endures, gentle, soothing, and eternal, carrying the mind into restful sleep as the world moves with patient grace through the cycles of life.